Welcome to another episode of Untitled Car Project. I am Rob Spring.
Jeremy Molt.
And on the line with us, we have Adam Setterstrom. Grant is on his way. He's running late today. Poor sap actually had to work for a living. So he'll bust in on us in a little while and probably make all kinds of noise.
Oh, that's a guarantee.
Guaranteed, yep. So you can reach us at its Instagram at Untitled Car Project. You can email us, untitledcarproject@gmail.com. And then apparently we have a Twitter that I tried to post on this last week. I think it worked. I think it did.
Oh, it did it. All right.
I think it did. Untitled Car Pro.
Nice. Yes.
Yes. Actually, so last week, I wanted to do a little house cleaning. Last week, we talked about Brian Morrison. So he was the originator of the what is it? Project Cars for Sale Cheap. That's what it was.
Yes.
So
I did check that out today.
It's pretty cool, huh?
That site's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Found stuff that I want to buy that I probably shouldn't.
When I jumped on there, you know what the first thing is?
What's that?
Us.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
We are the first thing on there. It's pretty cool.
Excellent. That's really good. Anyway, I did talk to Brian. We had a little scheduling conflict. I wanted to have him on the show this week. He wasn't able to make it, so we're scheduled out for the 29th, end of the month.
Yep.
And just so the listener knows, our shows lag about a week.
Or two.
It's a week and a half, actually, because we record on a Wednesday, and then they post on a Sunday. So anyway, Brian will be coming up next week. Is it next week? I'm losing my days in my mind now. But
29th, it'll be the week after next.
It is.
The next week is two other guys.
This is the 8th, just so everybody knows, the 8th. And so on the 15th, we're going to have Ian Fike, who is a drift, do you call it racer or competitor? He's a drifter. Drift car competition.
It's kind of based on speed and style, right?
So it really is, and it's impressive as hell.
Yeah, we'll have to get his take on it, but
I'm really excited to talk to him about that because I know very little about drifting, but he has built a new engine, put a new engine in his car from what I know. I don't know. Going to dig into that and really kind of figure it out.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
We'll also have Max Essig. He has a Project Subi he's been building for several years, at least 5 years that I've known him. And so we'll dig into that project as well. Looking forward to those things. Tonight, Adam, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing last minute push,
Yeah, shoot, we've got...
That's Grant. He's trying to call me right now.
Oh, awesome interruption. So there we go. We'll get that shut down.
You got some church music going on or a celebration or what you got?
That was Jeremy's phone ringing at the most inopportune time, and it's really funny that Grant is calling because he knows we're doing the show. Anyway, we've got our first race event coming up in 3 days. 3 days, Adam. You going to be ready?
Hell no, I'm not ready. I was actually in the process of building the dash right before talking with you. So I still got to finish that tonight.
You've got a little bit to do. You got some electrical to put back together, or?
Yeah, it'll all be put back together.
Okay.
I actually finally got the car back up and running again.
Good. Well, let's start at the beginning of your project. Like, how long have you had this car? And tell us what it is, what year it is, and what we're working on.
We got a 2000 Mazda Miata.
Okay.
So that is the NB. Probably started this about 6 years ago. Maybe 7 years. 7 years ago.
Okay.
Bought it from a guy, bone stock. Didn't do much. No modifications, nothing were done to it. And now everything's been modified.
Yeah. So when you first got it, you purchased that car strictly to go autocrossing.
So
is that true?
Right when I first got it, we threw some tires on it. At that time, the RE71s were the top of the line tire for street tires for autocross, because we just bought it only for autocross.
Yeah.
Threw those on there and didn't do the eBay coilovers. Kind of went one step above, barely.
Yeah.
Ended up getting some Godspeed coilovers.
Do they call it Godspeed coilovers because they wish you luck?
They did very well for us.
Oh, good.
They pray for you every time.
Like I said, 6-7 years we ran them. And the only other thing, we increased the front sway bar and removed the rear sway bar, and that's pretty much how we ran it for probably 2.5 years.
Okay, so you ran it stock just to learn the car, figure out what you had, figure out what you wanted to do, and then you started putting modifications into it. Did you start modifying it because you wanted it just to be better overall?
I needed so we were our main club was Bridge City Autosports, and which is a great club, great starter club. So if you're looking to get into anything, it worked out very well. After the third year, I was kind of maxed out in my class. Wasn't able to not say there wasn't. We had great competition.
Yeah,
but it just seemed that I was winning, and I was ready to take the next step. Get a little more horsepower in the car.
Yeah,
and compete with some bigger boys.
So at Bridge City, you do run in class with that club, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So they're all SCCA classing with the handicaps, and it great. Definitely a whole lot of fun there.
Yeah. Nice.
And we hit them up quite a bit when we're bored too. So
yeah, good place to go run, get you extra seat time and all that stuff. So after the first couple of years, what was your first modification? Where did you start going with your project?
Well, then I kind of I said we need more power, and that was the big boy. So we ended up. I don't like following the lead of every other car that I have. So everybody running turbos on that. I said, F it, let's slap a supercharger in it. So I found a company, Track Dog Racing, out of the East Coast, and we ended up putting a Rotrex in the car, and was able to. I think we pulled 220 horse, coming from 140 to 220 was
60 more horse.
That's a big jump.
An amazing increase.
Yeah. Did it make the car harder to drive?
It made the car more challenging.
Yeah.
Miatas, they're bone stock. They're just a fun car to throw around, and it's really hard to get them out of control when they're stock. But as soon as we added that 80 horse, it was a different machine. So
you opened up a whole list of other things that needed to happen because you added more horsepower.
So we ended up, we went with the Rotrex supercharger. Track Dog Racing had a whole kit. It gives you the intercooler. We did a coolant redirect, as with the Miatas. The cylinder 4 doesn't cool as well as cylinder 1, 2, and 3, so they redirect the coolant. So we added that on, and then we found a shop down in Beaverton, and they like to work with linked ECUs. And at that point, everybody goes Mega Squirt for Miatas. And I'm like, well, here we go. Let's buck the trend again. So we ended up doing a link ECU. Of course, not a whole lot of people run those in the Miata, so it was a little challenging for the tuner to get the bass. And
yeah,
but I'll tell you what, I can't be more happy with running a Link ECU. It gives you so much damn data and things that you can change. It's nuts.
That's cool. That's cool.
So we probably ran that for 2 years.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. And now we're on last year. Didn't do a whole lot of mods. Last year, I think we threw a new long tube header in, changed out a new race beat exhaust, just got a lot more flow. And I ended up finding a new tuner, and we did a completely retune of it. And just by adjusting a few things that he did with the parts that were on it, we ended up last season with 240 horse and 196 torque.
Damn. 240 horse.
20.
What does that car weigh?
Before last season, it was probably 2,300 pounds.
2,300
kind of brings me up
pounds?
to this off season.
Yeah.
We decided, well, I can't say we, because
You.
yeah, it was me who decided and said, Robin isn't making a decision on this one, I'm just going with it. But decided to lighten the car. So it is all stripped. The only thing that I still run in is the harness, all the wiring harness that was in there.
Yeah.
I didn't want to mess with that because the car is running.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't need to cause yourself more issues by redoing that.
So
yeah, it's not worth
we'll
that
leave
weight.
that extra five pounds of wiring in there.
Yeah, for sure.
But completely gutted the thing. Tore out the dash. Had to do a little more rewiring. But we ended up. I found a company. Who is it? LRB Racing, and they make aluminum panels for your dash kit.
Oh, nice.
So,
how much weight did you take out of the car?
I bet you we probably took 40, 50 pounds out of the car.
Couple 6-packs.
Yeah. So, get rid of a half a keg.
Couple 30 packs.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. That's really good. So I think, you've done some other modifications too. I know you did suspension this last year.
Yep. So we ended up going with the Zetas, which are probably one of the top of line Miata suspension.
Yeah.
So definitely spent a little more coin than I wanted to, but
no, it's worth it.
I'm willing to bet it's just going to be just peachy.
Yeah.
One thing that we were always having a hard time autocrossing was this car came with a 6-speed, so the gearing is so close to each other, and it had 410 gears in the rear. So it's no fun getting into fourth gear on an autocross.
Right.
I said, so needed to fix that. Ended up finding 363 ring and pinion.
Have you? So that's fresh this year, though, right? You didn't run that last year.
That is fresh. That and the new suspension is all fresh.
Ooh.
So have you driven it since you put the new gears in it?
Nope.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
It's in the trailer ready to go, but I still need to break in the diff. So since it's a race car, I can't really take it down the road.
Well, I don't know. That doesn't stop most people. Sure you can.
I'll drive it for you. I don't give a fuck.
So there was one other thing you did last year to the car.
That would be the so Miata. They had a couple different brake kits that they put. One of them it's called what is it? Super Sport brake system I did not have the sport brake kit, but there is a bracket that you can buy for the rear caliper to use a bigger rotor, which is what they use on like the Mazda Speed. So I was able to I have an extra 1.25 inch rotor on the back. So
just on the back though, not on the
levels me out a little on the rear end and
okay.
Able to slow down a little quicker without locking up the front.
I did notice that difference, but you also put aero on the car. That's what I was getting at.
Oh, aero. Yeah, I forgot all about the damn aero.
Forgot all about it already. Yeah. Yeah, and that actually made a difference in the car.
Oh, that car was so planted. It was crazy.
So did you just do the rear wing, or did you do downforce in the front too?
No, I went all or nothing. Nice. So I got the big wine from 9 Lives Racing, the front splitter, as well as the air dam. So kind of equals it out front and back now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was, I noticed last year, it made a difference. Like the amount of stick that car has now going through high-speed slaloms was pretty impressive. Like you stepped up your game. You got considerably faster.
Yeah, it's no fun not being able to compete. You know, that's why I love running with the Corvette and Viper clubs with you guys, because it's big power. It's people that
it is big power
pushing you.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, the courses that we set up are built for big power cars. So it is an advantage for you because your car fits through those courses at a higher speed than the big cars do. So
yeah, you guys put a Chicago box in. It's just a single cone there.
It's a straight line for you. Yeah.
You know, just doing
but it's not for the Vipers
where you guys are slamming on the brakes. Yeah, I get to where I don't have the power you guys got. I'm able to sneak through a lot of different areas that you guys got to slow way down for.
Yeah,
so that's
for sure.
Definitely helps.
So, other than just trying to get the car back together for the first race weekend, what other plans you got?
Oh, drinking this weekend, hopefully.
Well, I wasn't talking about the weekend. I was talking about your car.
Oh, so I think I'm good this season. That's probably going to be. I want to paint the car before next season, and upgrade my axles. With all this hard driving we do on this car, I'm just waiting for the day that the engine blows. So, not that I want it to happen, but the game plan is there for when it does.
Yeah.
I was able to pick up another block, and
did you? Okay.
So it's sitting there, and we'll bore it out a little bit and run E85 on it, and should be a little over 300 horse once that happens.
Yeah, and then you're going to run into drivetrain issues, I would assume.
You're at 220 now?
240, I think
240?
Yeah.
So you're going up another 60 horse-ish in a 2,300 pound car.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
I think I lost you.
Oh, can you hear us now?
I mean, he's right there.
Oh, can you hear us now? Adam?
Yep.
Okay, good. Yeah, so 300 horse, 2,300 pound car, gobs of downforce. I mean, that's going to be a different car.
Yeah, no, and I'm not ready to do it, but as soon as the engine goes, then why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might be working on that thing before the engine goes, because that's going to be all new internals. It's going to be a complete rebuild, so
yeah,
be a good project, just to be tinkering with and putting it together over time, waiting for the inevitable for that thing to blow up. What you were running Hoosiers last year? What size grip you got on the car?
So right now they are 245 40 15s.
Okay.
So
yeah.
That I'm not ready to cut the fenders out yet and throw the 315s under there or the 295.
315s.
Even 275s would be.
But I did see somebody running 275 35 15s.
Wow.
So it's doable without cutting the fenders. There's just a lot of stretching that has to go through.
275 would be a lot of grip. You know, you're putting a lot more strain on your axles and drivetrain with that size of tire. So I would think possibly axle upgrades beyond just replacing with stock for stock, you know, would probably be in order. Could be wrong.
Yeah, no, it is true. And, you know, honestly, I've already started beefing up some of the weak points on the car. The passenger side rear diff, if you get too much wheel hop or they're just brittle because it's cast iron, the right side of the diff snaps.
Oh, really?
I've got some braces that I put in this off-season underneath the car to help prevent that. Another thing that happened last year is I busted my PPF, which is it runs from the transmission to the rear diff. And if I'm not mistaken, don't some Corvettes have that too?
What's PPF? I am unfamiliar with PPF term.
Oh, wow, shit. How do I not know that?
I don't know. You said it.
I just know the name of.
You know the acronym, the PPF?
I know the acronym.
Okay.
Or the whatever. PPF.
What is Googling? Nope, that's not it. Careful when you Google that. And Sir Grant has entered the studio.
Hello!
Oh my gosh.
Hello, everyone!
Wow.
I am in the distant background.
Wow.
Joining in
That's rude.
like a thunderous applause.
That's rude.
Ah!
Hey, calm down. Wow.
You were loud in my ears before you got to the microphone, bro.
No doubt.
The energy just raised to level 10.
There you go. Welcome to the show, Grant.
Hello. How are you gentlemen doing?
Okay, we were just covering all the mods that Adam has done to the Super Miata.
Nice.
Yep.
Is Adam with us right now?
He is.
Adam, hello.
I'm here. I was just kind of explaining the power plant form.
Nice.
PPF? Are you familiar with the acronym PPF?
Yes.
What is it?
Professional something futuristic.
No.
I know it's what you're supposed to do before you look at a car.
Before you look at a car?
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were smoking dope tonight, guys.
Man, I missed that memo. That was not on the show notes.
No.
Pros and cons of PPF.
It's a power plant frame is what it's
plant
called.
frame.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that is a weak point in the Miata is what you're saying.
But I don't know if you recall, Rob, last season I actually snapped mine in the middle of a session.
I do remember that. I didn't know that's what it was called. I thought it was just a
drove from
subframe.
Shelton to Beaverton to pick up a new one and got the new one.
Oh,
I remember that.
And that was a subframe part of some kind. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now I'm following. So you got to beef that up, and especially if you're going to add, another 60 horsepower to the thing. We've got sign language happening.
Yeah.
Oh, curtain. Gotcha.
I don't know if it matters.
Okay.
Not at this point.
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
I'm just waiting for.
Yeah, you've got some good plans for that thing, and we're looking forward to seeing it out at the track.
Yay.
Definitely a money pit. You can never be done with it.
It's not a money pit if you're winning like you do.
Project cars, man, they are a money pit, but
No, there's
that's
so
what we
many.
do. It's what we do.
You're gonna have to rotate the bottom. Of that.
We're excited about that.
Otherwise.
All right,
Now,
so
just got our stickers yesterday too, so those will be going on the car
Is that
tomorrow.
the plus 5 horsepower?
Oh no! These are the purple crack stickers.
oh, those are plus 10 horsepower for sure.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, we have audio quality issues
Sorry,
today.
I'm just trying to get all
freaking
set
Lord.
up.
We're just gonna delete all of that.
Okay,
Give
fine.
us 3 minutes, get it fixed.
Well, this is not the typical mic stand I normally use. There we go. That work?
Yeah, it is.
sure?
Perfect.
Did we swap yours and his?
Yes.
I mean, same as this one. All right, back at it.
Hello.
All right, so I would like to move over to another topic,
Okay.
Adam included. Your first car mod when you started working on cars.
Ooh.
Ever? First ever car
First
classifying
ever car
tires
mod.
as a car mod or no?
Well, no. Like actually turning wrenches. What was the first thing you ever did when you started working on cars?
I'm trying to remember mine because mine's
Coilovers.
tire.
First ever coilovers, like not necessarily your Miata. So like back when you were a teenager, you first got a car and you're like, you know what I want to do? I want to do this to my car.
Do tires count?
No.
Not so.
No.
No tires. That's cosmetic, remember?
That's true.
Well, not necessarily, but somebody else puts them on. You just like pay the bill.
What if you
Yeah.
did it?
You doubt it.
Yeah, okay, doubt it.
Okay.
What do you got, Adam? You got one?
I'm kind of going with the cold air intake.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that's the first thing you put on, what'd you put it on? What car?
I actually put that on my Mustang GT.
Okay.
Nice.
That 2015 that I had.
Yeah.
I know what mine was.
Yep, got a little better throttle response, and it sounded cool.
Yeah, sure. So you really didn't start doing mods to your cars, like not even when you were a teenager?
I was music was my key, so every vehicle I had sound system.
Sure. Well, I mean, that could be a mod, right?
It's always worth having a sound system in the car.
Yeah, ask Grant.
Oh yeah.
He's all in. Yeah. What do you got?
I got big into sound systems and was going to competitions and shit like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
That's
serious
exciting.
sound. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, it is a mod. There is a place for it, right?
Yeah, so the 64 Ford I had.
64 Ford.
I had a 1964 Ford F100 four-wheel drive.
Okay.
Sitting on 36 buckshots. The first mod I ever did was changing the oil bath air filter out for a Edelbrock cloth filter or paper filter, I guess.
Yeah. Was it reusable or just changed it out?
No,
got rid of the oil bath stuff.
It was disposable. And
Gotcha.
then the same weekend, we put cherry bombs on it.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We who?
Me and my dad.
Nice.
Yeah.
I bet your neighbors loved you after that.
You know, it didn't actually make it any louder.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't know what he had before.
True.
They were very cherry bomb-esque.
I mean, those were cool. I remember those when I was in high school. You know,
Yeah.
guys would get that straight pipe through the cherry bomb, and they were pretty good sound.
Yeah.
Really, depending on what you had before, especially they could be pretty loud comparatively. I suppose
Those were not the first mods on that truck, but those were the first mods I did
that
on
you
the truck.
did. Sure, that's fair. Yeah. What do you got?
I'm trying to think of mine because you guys know me. I like keeping a lot of my like factory looking cars
Stock for
the
stock.
longest time.
But you still modified by changing.
So Liger was probably the first one I really modified because
Yeah.
all my other cars I was like, oh, you gotta keep factory, gotta keep what we can. And trying to remember that because she already had a couple mods to her, but nothing extensive. She had the cold air intake and the strut tower brace when we got her, and Borla exhaust. So I think even a short shifter. Wow. So my first upgrade I did to her. Either was a suspension switch to KYB, but I believe I had Schwab do that time because this is before I was really wrenching.
Okay.
So I think the first mods I ever did was I swapped brakes on to Liger to the GT500 brakes.
Bought them yourself, installed them yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bought them, installed them. Like, ooh, if this will fit on this, then this will work on this, and
Yeah.
it took a huge gamble.
Sure.
That was one of the first big ones I did, and I think that's when I also switched over to the GT500 wheels because my factory wheels wouldn't fit. I put the brakes on. I'm like, oh wait, why won't my wheels fit back on here?
Yep.
And I realized just because of clearance on it.
Calipers were bigger, and yeah, for sure. Oh, that's cool. I think the first one I did, first car mod, I'd have to say, because I worked on dirt bikes and stuff like that, but that's not what we're talking about. My first car mod, I had a 72 Camaro, and I picked up a 4-barrel. It had a 2-barrel carburetor on it. So I picked up a 4-barrel manifold and a carburetor from a buddy.
Is it Holly or what kind of brand?
I am drawing a blank on that.
Okay.
I was young and really didn't know the difference at the time anyway.
Just it was bigger and better.
Bigger and better, exactly. And I did that.
Was always my go-to.
It might have been an Edelbrock, but I cannot recall for sure. But anyway, so I put this new manifold on it, put a carburetor on it, hooked it all up. It ran like absolute dog shit. And
it was jetted too big.
it was not jetted properly.
Yeah.
I fiddle farted around with it and stuff like that, and it made lots of noise when you floored it and that kind of stuff, but it really didn't help.
Also, probably burned a hole in your pocket with the fuel
because it wasn't tuned right. And fuel was cheap back then, so it didn't matter too much. I mean, as a teenager with that car, you're going through a lot more fuel than whatever.
Yeah.
Probably the money that I had at the time. But that's the first mod that I did to any vehicle that I owned. Would love to have been able to tune it properly, but I was a kid. I didn't know any different, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's a pretty big modification to take on by yourself, not knowing anything. I knew how to work on dirt bikes, so I knew enough to be dangerous and how to turn a wrench. But I loved that car. And of course now pissed off that I ever sold it, but what are you going to
always get another one?
Yeah, for 10 times the price.
That is true.
I constantly look for that car. Yeah,
have you been looking in barns or finding old ladies who could have one?
I've found a few recently that were like, okay, that one is not terrible, but they still want 10 grand for them.
Yeah.
And I've got enough projects I should probably work on the ones I got.
That's true. Don't want to be like me and just keep adding project and another project and another project.
I was looking at that, and then a guy reached out to me from California to come on the podcast, and we'll eventually get hooked up and have him come on. But he's got a 72 Nova, which I also really like. I love that square body of the Nova.
Those are good looking cars.
Those are great looking cars. My sister had one when she was in high school. And it's just a really neat car. I mean, they're big. They were kind of a 2-door family car. You could get a 4-door version as well, but they weren't obviously as cool. But I really like the Novas too. So I've been kind of looking at those, and those haven't taken off in popularity as much as, say, the older Camaros and the Corvettes and stuff like that. You can still pick up a Nova considerably cheaper than a Camaro.
Which is crazy.
It is. I mean, it's a great car, and you get 350 in there with a turbo 400 tranny, and that's kind of a neat car,
Yeah.
Yeah, you could swap it out even to a manual, or get really lucky and find one that had a manual transmission. But I don't know how many they actually made with manual transmissions. Not as many.
Yeah.
The earlier 60s versions, you had more manual transmissions in those. But yeah, a really cool car.
Do you mind if we circle back?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was already talked about. Adam, how did you get into sound and into the competitions and stuff? That's super different niche. I never knew that about you.
I just started working so young. I was working, I started working at 15 years old and had, working 30 hours a week. And I was just having money, and I got my first car was a 92 Honda Prelude. So I had that before I got my license, and I just started, I needed something to spend my money on.
Yeah.
So I just started, I'm like, I love big sound, and, I grew up in Vegas, so hearing all these big competitions and big old subwoofers, and I just kind of needed something to spend money on that I had no bills.
Yeah.
Started there and just kept going all through high school, and
What's kind of the best setup you had in your car? Like, how many speakers, what kind of wattage were you putting out, you think?
So I had two 12-inch JL W0s at that time. We're talking back in 97, dating myself here.
I was 7 years old.
I hit 132 decimals.
Oh, wow.
One of the competitions.
Yeah, that's pretty loud. No earplugs, no nothing. Just hammering it.
You know, we rode bicycles in the road with no helmet too. So
yep. I was right there with you.
Mm-hmm. So I was kind of into the same scene.
Once I start something, I just keep going until I find something new.
Oh, okay.
Yep, new and shiny.
Yeah, so I was kind of in the same scene, but I didn't have a competition stereo in the car. But about the same time frame, I had bought a Honda CRX, and a buddy of mine had a Bronco at that time. And I didn't really want the CRX when I bought it. I just bought it because it got really good gas mileage. I ended up sliding it into a curb and buckled the front tire under. Got that fixed, and then I ended up selling it to him. And he took all of the stereo equipment out of his Bronco, which was a bunch of amplifiers and MB Quartz door speakers and stuff like that, and 3 oh man, I can't even remember what brand they were now, but 3 12-inch subwoofers. And he took that car and actually hit 139 decibels for the first time ever. Yeah. He couldn't even get close with the Bronco he had with the same equipment, but he took that and did it.
Jeremy, when you wrecked that car, were you playing Wham?
No.
Jesus.
I was actually
Careless Whisper.
I was actually drag racing somebody and had to make a corner.
They don't put corners on drag strips.
No.
There's a reason for that.
With those competitions, is it more about like the sound or the quality of sound or both, or like what's the priority?
Absolutely how loud you can
Just
go.
how loud. Yeah.
Really. So it can be just shit sound, but really loud.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
there's so much goes into it. So I actually went to the state competition up in Seattle, and I just got dominated. And what I didn't realize, it wasn't just the sound. They check all your wiring, your feedback,
quality of installation. Yeah.
Did that kind of like invigorate you to like build yours even more up, or how'd you feel when you saw like vehicles like that?
I'm like, wow, I don't know if I have enough money for this.
Yeah.
I mean, some of I'm in the wrong. Some of these things that these people do is intense and crazy.
Yeah, the people that get super deep. Yeah, the people that get super deep into it. Yeah, they're just like no expense spared. They're gonna win no matter what.
When you have a vehicle like that, is there like a certain genre of music that you'd play at competition specifically, or even if you're driving around town because it's so loud, something that you could enjoy in that, or like what how would that go?
So they actually give you a base CD that everybody was using, so everybody's on the same playing field.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
But I'll tell you what, when I was just kind of cruising the town, one of the best soundtracks was that Top Gun soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
There is just one of those songs that you get all the treble, and then all of a sudden the bass comes in, and it's an intense song. But at that time, I think Eminem was coming in play, so he was a big person listening to, and
I'm trying to think of what's...
To answer your question, they give you what you're playing.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems right. I mean, that makes it more fair, right?
Yeah,
everybody's playing the same thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what song you're thinking on the top, because that was when I grew up and had a CD player, BA technology.
Yeah.
That was like the one CD I had and I played over and over and over again.
What, Careless Whisper?
No, the Top Gear soundtrack.
Oh, Top Gun?
It was funny because, Top Gun, but I never actually saw the movie back then.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's pretty funny. Good question, though. I hadn't really considered how they judge that, how they make it all even,
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It'd be interesting now how because if they're giving you a media file to have that, if you're in a competition, if it's multiple forms they have to give to you, whether it's a USB stick or CD or whatever, and then how is that going to change the quality of audio when you go through it? because obviously technology is going to change coming, throughout the decades. And so does that mean everyone's got to then be like, well, I had a really good setup. It was set up with this dash in here with a really good CD player, but now I've got to switch over to a Bluetooth one. And is that going to degrade the sound more? You know?
It would depend on the quality of the original. Yeah. You know, if they're going Bluetooth to the head unit, what the quality of it is. But if everybody's using the same one, does it matter?
Maybe, because you can get, depending on what head unit you got, like say if it is Bluetooth, different signal going through, or if it's digitally gone through. Like with a CD, you're hit by a laser and record that way. If you're going through like an 8-track, it's by a tape. Right. Physically reading out the magnet strip. So if you're doing anything that's, cloud-based, I mean, think of this.
Stream quality.
If it's streaming through, you could even have say a Raspberry Pi or something it takes it in, and now it's different because you can encode it differently and have it sound better. Right. That way, and I don't know if that'd be allowed or not.
But it is still everybody would have to use the same version, whether they hook up Bluetooth to your stereo head unit or like you said, a USB stick, or how they do it. Everybody's using the same one.
It's the same file.
So it's the same file, right? So it seems like it would still be fair. But I wonder for those competitions.
I got to know, Adam,
what the choice is for media.
I got to know, Adam, by the end of the day, were you sick of that song on that CD?
Oh, you would be, right?
I still hum it in my head.
Really?
I don't know what it was about that song. I think it was the very first song on the CD, or the second one. But
if you can find that, I'd love to hear it one of these days.
Yeah. I
you're gonna need somewhere. A bigger stereo.
Hundreds and hundreds of them, but I'll have to remind me this weekend. I'll show you what song I'm talking about.
Okay.
We'll find it. I'm gonna find it right now. I mean, talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, you guys. Ridiculous. Everybody just pause.
Everyone's pausing. What did I miss earlier in this conversation? I mean, I kind of just jumped in and was like,
we covered his build.
Are we paused?
Okay. No. What do you need, bud? What do you need? Anything for you?
Nothing.
Okay.
I was just going to say hi to Grant.
Hello.
Hi, Grant.
I miss you, Adam.
Aw.
Just a big happy family. So, go ahead,
Grant. Is Liger going to be ready?
Yes. I've been spending the last 3 days working normal work hours, quote unquote, when normal for me is insane, and then spending at the shop till like midnight, 1 a.m., constantly working on Liger, trying to get it ready. And you know me, I always come up with stupid things, be like, hey, let's do some more stuff right at the last minute for it. So I started reupholstering the seat, and then last night, or the Monday night, I was like, you know what? It's already down to the foam. Why don't I start bolstering it and start adding it? I've never done that before. We'll do that. So started bolstering the seat. So now it's way more comfortable in this, hugs you in the sides, and started doing that. And then now I'm like, oh gosh, I'm lacking on parts. I need parts, and we're running out of time. And she'll be ready one way or another, but it's one of those years again where I'm coming down to the wire on getting everything
You
together.
did it to yourself, man.
I've been busy.
Well, I don't know if you do the same thing, but I had all these plans. I probably had most of my parts came in by December, and I just started working on the car last month.
Oh man! I mean, to give you an idea, I ordered wheels in September, and they're still not here.
Yeah. So on your last podcast, you were told that you need to call them. Did you call them?
Since the last time, I haven't. I've called them.
I think Rob did.
Rob, I sent the info to.
He sent it to me, and then I've been swamped.
Yeah. But I've emailed or called them 3 times. I've emailed them. I've only been able to talk to the company once, and their latest update is, yes, we lost your order, and it will continue build either in May or June. And their website now says their production date has been pushed officially back towards June. Oh. So I don't know if they're going to keep dragging me along the rest of this year or not.
Just get your goddamn money back.
Yeah, but it'd be nice to have those wheels, or at least to contact another company. Maybe Forge Star.
I was going to say, is that the only company that that makes those?
It's for Mustang specific to keep it under the factory wheel well. It's either you go with Apex or Forge Star. And the only reason I didn't go with Forge Star, 2 reasons. One, the Apex wheels look more like a Shelby wheel, and because I'm kind of trying to go with a factory look. And Forge Star, I know it's a little bit more aggressive modifications you need to do under your Mustang to put them in there, and as well as their wheels. Where the Apex would guarantee you could fit up to the new S550 brakes under it, as well as the GT350 brakes, and the GT500 from 2014 brakes under those wheels. With the Forge Star, it's not guaranteed it'll fit anything over a 15-inch brake rotor, and so that's where I was gritting my teeth if I wanted to risk that or not, because even though Liger's at 14 now, I do want to upgrade her at some point to a 6-piston Brembo. For the performance of it, if I ever go track driving, it'd be nice to have a little bit more of a rotor for the heat dissipation, but also because it's more fits the wheel and more appropriate, because again, the factory offered it. It's a thing you could put into a Mustang. Why not? Could have been like that. Oh, which I'm seeing a picture right now.
Those are the 4-star F14s.
Okay, what size is that? 19 or 18s?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
probably a 19.
That's the thing, is I was originally trying to go with the 18s. 19s can fit a lot of the stuff, but the 18s are the ones I was trying to find.
Right. Yeah. 18s for racing tires is a much better option, but harder to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, to clear your brakes and whatnot.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it just says Ford Mustang. It doesn't specify.
Yeah, I'll probably have to call them and see. I do have a friend who they went with a 19-inch wheel on their Mustang.
You can totally do it.
Yeah.
Just a heavier wheel.
Yeah, and
not necessarily.
That's something I've been debating on, because I've originally put in 18s because I was like, okay, that way it can fit, the tires.
Your tire selection is better.
Yeah, I was going with originally with those Hoosiers because they were 18 takeoffs.
Right.
But now that series is gone, so
yep.
Trying to figure out 19 is a possibility. It just makes it a little bit taller, which actually I wouldn't mind, because Liger's really low on the ground, which is great for racing, but when you're trying to do daily driving and she's an inch off the ground, that's actually one thing is, so I have a daily set of wheels for Liger for when I'm going around town, and when I had to buy the daily set of tires again just to replace them, I accidentally ordered them the same size as my race wheels, which are low profile. So instead of having 2.5, 3-inch clearance off the ground, it's more like an 1.5-inch clearance off the ground now. So I'm like,
there you go.
Yeah.
18 by 10 right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do they make 11s?
Yep.
They make 11s?
Up to 13.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And they ship within 1 to 2 business days. That's a big promise.
It is. They've changed. When I first clicked on that, it didn't have.
Well, that might be a thing. I might have to go with Forge Stars then.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to reset. Anyway, pretty cool.
Okay.
Shall we move on? Next topic.
Yes.
Okay. This is a deep one.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like deep.
And if you'd have read the show notes, you would know what's coming. But
okay.
Let's see.
I like to be surprised.
I know you do. Surprise me.
Okay.
Can you make...
Look at me. I'm surprising you.
Can you make... That's...
I want to go rip his hair.
Oh my gosh.
For all those who don't know, a shirt just came off.
He was flashing us.
No, it's scary.
Adam, I saved you.
Can you make a daily driver into a race car?
Ooh.
A daily driver... Can you hear me, Adam? Daily driver into a race car.
We'll let Adam start.
Can you do it? Follow-up question, should you?
That's what I was going to say.
I don't know if Adam even heard me.
Yeah, I heard.
Okay. You're contemplating.
I'm trying to think.
Contemplating.
Yeah, he's doing the exact same thing. I read that. Why do you think I said, hey, Adam?
Yeah.
Let's do Adam first.
Yeah. Let's make him struggle with this question.
I'll go. I'll go.
All right. Jeremy's up to bat.
Can you make a daily driver your race car? Yes.
Seen it done.
I have seen it done. I did it with my Subaru.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally expecting to grenade the motor at any moment while I was on the track. Should you? I don't think so. My wife and I went back and forth when we bought her car as to whether we were going to put it on the track or not. At one point, we had agreed that we would, but if we did, it was only going to be a couple times and more so she could learn how to autocross.
Yep.
And then we had talked about potentially buying something else that her and I could race.
The Fiat.
Well, that was one of the cars that was on the docket, right? I honestly think there's too much work in that, and I'd rather buy something.
Yeah.
But can you? Yes, you absolutely can. You do have to keep it streetable, though, right? So some of the stuff that you would do as far as modification goes is going to change, right? So, like, take Liger for example.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff Grant did to Liger, but he tried to keep it pretty stock,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Had Liger been a car he was willing to
You should say
completely
factory,
chop
not
up.
stock.
Well, factory.
It's
It's some sort of factory.
There's a lot of mods to that car, 7 pages worth, but everything's made to a factory type of spec.
Yes.
But yes, continue.
So, but if you decided Liger or a different car was going to be not a street car and you were going to race it only, there probably would have been a lot of different parts that you put into it.
There's a lot of compromises.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the long answer is yeah, but.
yes, but
Yeah, but I've seen a lot of people do it, and I think it can be done depending on your level of competition, where you plan on being, right?
Mm-hmm.
How competitive do you want to be? We see people come out and drive the shit out of their daily, right?
Yeah.
This is a car they're commuting to work in, and they're out pounding the crap out of it lap after lap. They're like fun runs, one after the next,
Yep.
till the brakes are on fire.
Sometimes not even their car, it's their mom's Ultima.
Impala.
or 8.6.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So should they? Probably not if they're going to be that aggressive, because you got to drive it home. I did it the first few times I autocrossed. It wasn't a daily car, but I did drive it there, race it, and drive it back. I got worried about that after a while because I'm like, I'm not, if I break this thing, I'm not going to be able to get home. So how am I going to do that? But that's a whole nother topic, I suppose.
I've towed people home from the track before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sure.
And then when I left, after I dropped the trailer off, I got in my Subaru and drove it home and made it 10 miles from my grandma's house and completely grenaded the clutch.
And you could have done that at the track just
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
for sure.
I'm sure it had started at the track.
Yeah. Yep.
I
So-
just finished it on the freeway.
Daily driver race car. Yeah, you can. Question mark. You can. Maybe. I mean, should you? No, probably not. But go ahead. You're itching.
I'm waiting for. I will let Adam
go ahead.
go.
all right.
He's been thinking. I
right.
got a lot to say. So.
oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Adam, what do
All
you
right,
what do you got, bud?
All right, Grant, go ahead and repeat the question for me.
Okay. Can you make a daily driver into a race car?
Can you race?
Can you race your daily
Can
driver?
you race your daily driver?
Yeah.
And the second question is, should you race your daily driver?
So, yes, you can, because I've done it. So that's probably the short answer. I think if money, I think it has a lot to do with what you can spend too. So
Yeah.
if you're kind of living okay, and you have something saved where just in case you break your car, you can get it fixed. If you're able to do that, then yeah. Seeing some of these 17, 18-year-olds racing their cars, yeah, they're freaking idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You
to
know,
a degree.
they're just gonna break their car. It don't matter if you're driving a Hyundai or, Mercedes, how they're built. Mercedes should be able to hold up better in high heat, pushing the car.
Right.
Where I'm not going to take my Hyundai out there and think it's going to be okay for it, because it wasn't designed that.
Yeah.
You take your Ford Mustang, take it out there. That's what the car is designed for, to be sporty, to have those sport components on it and use it.
Yeah, yeah, a little more so. So I think you've hit on something there. The durability of your vehicle, being a Hyundai, you probably get away with it twice, but the third time you're pushing your luck. A Mustang, you can probably run a whole season and really not have too many breakdowns. Probably be okay still daily driving that, but after a while, the wear and tear is going to catch up to you. So yeah, I think that's valid for your quote unquote daily driver race car.
Yeah, I think if I was going to be racing my daily driver, I'd probably sell it at the end of the season.
There are people that do that.
Yeah.
They buy a new car every year or every 2 years, and they race the crap out of it and daily drive it.
I mean,
just lightly used, only has 50 miles on it.
Yeah.
I have sold vehicles because the check engine light came on 3 times for a transmission.
You're ridiculous.
If you would have waited the 4th time, you would have got a Lemon's Law.
Yeah. It depends.
No,
it depends
I had
on
it for 2 years before I did that.
I think if you're really going to think about racing, you really got to realize how much money you're dumping into this to. Well, that just have the smile.
Yeah, that goes back to how serious you're going to be about it. Are you going out to actually compete, or are you going out to run some autocross and just have some fun, right? And you're not super worried about turning in great times or whatever. You're just out there to wheel it a little bit, slide around a little bit, have some fun with your buddies, which is great. More power to you. Go do it. But yeah, it depends. If you're going to get serious about it, your daily driver is not going to be your race car.
Yep.
Go for it.
All right.
You're itching.
I've got a lot to say trying to put it all together because my original answer was yes, no. I think it should be yes, yes. And I got a lot to say about that one.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So it's yes, you can, and yes, you should.
Yeah, with the star next to the second one.
Asterisk.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first thing is, can you race a daily driver? Yes. No matter what situation. I mean, you give me a cardboard box and I'll race it and run around the track.
That'll be fun.
I mean, the fact is, anything you get enough passion in your heart, you can get anything to go.
Sure. I know what my next project is.
Cardboard box. Taping some Hot Wheels to it.
We put spinners on it.
Yes.
So
yes.
Should you? So everything should say no, but I'm going to say yes. And the reason is if you're at the point you're wanting to race your car, then you're gonna do it no matter what.
Sure.
If you're out on the streets and you're a weekend warrior, fine. That's fine. But if you're at the point where you're like, I'm racing on the roads and I need to make it, it's getting to that dangerous level, go to the track. Then yes, your daily driver is now on the track, but you're risking it because it's either you're risking it somewhere it's more controlled or somewhere that's not.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Okay.
Second thing, though, I don't think it's a good idea to race your daily driver unless you've got a backup car or means of repair or means of something to help you out. Because if that daily driver's gone, that's your only thing, you're hosed.
Yeah.
I mean, say if you're 18 and you bust a transmission or say a clutch, and now you're stranded there. You have no way to get towed home. Say you don't know anyone, and it's been the competition you traveled 2,000 miles for. And guess what? You only had enough gas money to stay there and make it back. What are you going to do?
Now you got to rebuild your car.
You shouldn't have been there.
The only thing you can do is go and buy a lottery ticket and pray to whoever deity you believe in.
Yep.
Yep. But driving your daily as your race car, I've seen a lot of people do it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it can be done. But it's like how you were saying and how Jeremy was saying is it depends on the level of competition. If you're daily driving and you're just going to look for a fun time, let's just say autocross, okay, great. And you're taking the risk to be like, okay, something may happen, but I'm reducing the risk by being out here. Or drag racing, straight line, but still there's a possibility of going into a wall because you lose some traction, right?
Yep.
All those are possibilities, but you also have to then assume that, okay, how much wear am I putting on the car? If it's not to the point where it's serious competition level, that means whatever you had out there, say if you had it adequately, the level you're performing is what you would do on the street. Then it's apples to apples. I mean, there's some people who will drive an autocross track, let's just say, as though you were driving, the backcountry roads.
Yes.
But if you're taking it to a big track, we can all agree that's going to put a lot more wear on your car. That's something you should assume that, like, no matter what you're doing, unless you're running for the cops on a daily basis, your car is going to be having a lot more wear than you would on just driving it on the track.
Agreed. I mean, that is part of the deal, though. If you're going to autocross it, you're going to big track it, you're accepting those consequences.
Yeah.
Either of the destroying it, breaking something pretty severe. It could be even minor breakage, you don't know.
Yeah.
But also putting that extra wear on your vehicle.
Yeah.
So you've already accepted that.
Yeah.
So that's part of the equation, though.
Yeah.
Like, should you?
Yeah.
So are you willing to risk that? A lot of people do.
The reason it
good
should
for them,
be
I guess.
The reason it should be yes, should you, is if you're already at the level where you're on your daily commutes or doing it as a weekend warrior and going already to that level.
Yeah.
Now, if you start going above that level or above where you're comfortable at that, then
it's time to change gears.
Yeah.
So I agree with the yes and yes, because how else is that person that is interested in track driving or autocross? Autocross is great. It's such a good entry level, non-threatening environment to learn how to drive your car and drive it well and be competitive. So yeah, I think the guy that is got it in the back of his mind and he's like, yeah, I would like to try that. Bring your car out and try it.
Yeah.
Run it, 4 or 5 times.
I think there's a third question here.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Run it, however many times you feel comfortable to get your feet wet and be like, you know what, I really like this. And then you transition to buying yourself a beater or whatever it is, something that you can really hammer on and you don't have to worry about driving it to work later.
Or the opposite. Make that your race car and
buy something else.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think it's a great way to enter the sport with what you have, right?
Yeah.
So yes and yes.
So the third question, and Rob just answered it, should you for the long term race that daily drive?
I don't think so.
And that's when I'm like constantly wrestling with.
Well, you don't daily drive your Mustang.
Well, so Liger, I used to, and there's times like, especially with the summer, I'd love to be daily driving right now.
Gotcha.
And once she's like road legal, I'll probably be driving her maybe 3-4 times a day, because it's sometimes I want to hop in the car and enjoy my sports car. But it doesn't mean I don't want to have a cabin while I'm driving where it's like I'm sitting on a metal seat, no air conditioning, it's hot, it's loud, but compromises.
Right, right.
Adam, you had something.
Oh, I was didn't hear the question.
Oh, so
seeing if Grant would holler it out.
The third question, or the third portion of that question, is should you race your daily driver for the long term?
No.
Right.
And the only reason I would say yes to that is if you had the money that you could do that.
The effort money.
Yeah.
And then if you have the effort money, you're buying a different race car.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I could not picture using my daily week in, week out.
Right. Not for the long term.
What if your daily was a race? Like we've talked about multiple times. What if your daily was an F40? That's a road car, but it's more of a race car, I
think you're running the same risk.
Yeah.
But you really are. The wear and tear and the crashing.
But
you're daily in an F40. Okay, cool, good for you. And you're taking it to the track on the weekend. It's the exact same risk.
Would that make the requirement of the long term one? Turning your daily to your long term car.
Same.
Yeah.
I think same. If you've got that kind of money, you're probably not doing that. But
let's just say something more affordable, like an Ariel Atom.
Yeah,
it's essentially a race car.
Yeah,
or was it a Morgan 7? Not Morgan. The little small cars. It's a kit car. It's got a 4-cylinder in it. They use in Europe a lot. It's got like an 8 on the front, I think. You know what, guys? Know what I'm talking about? Adam, do you know what I'm talking about?
All I can think is a Mini Cooper. But I know that's not right.
No, it's like it's kind of like an open wheel car. They use it a lot in Europe.
It?
No, that's the Morgan.
Yeah.
The one I'm thinking about.
3-wheeler. All right.
Yeah. What's it called? I know I've seen one at BCA once.
An Opal?
Is that what Opal 7? It has a 7 on the grill. It's got a 4-cylinder. It's got a single straight pipe going out the side of it. Surprisingly, they used to use it in it was made back in the 40s or 50s. That one right there. That one. That's it. What is that? The top one.
Morgan 7.
The top one is?
Yeah.
Okay, Morgan 7. Yeah.
Yep. No, you're right. I have seen one of those.
Yeah. And people do daily those though. I mean, it's not very comfortable. So would you
Caterham.
Thank you. Caterham.
Yep, that's it.
Do you want to explain to Adam what that is because he can't see it?
I don't think he can hear me.
Oh, Adam, can you not hear him?
Not very well.
Barely.
Okay, so Caterham 7 is what we were talking about. And the Caterham 7 is essentially, it's a British sports car, front engine, rear wheel drive, open cockpit convertible. Kind of looks like a larger MG Midget mixed in with a kind of like a 1940s car. Okay. And they're fairly light. I think probably 1,500, 1,800 pounds. They make about 140, 130 horses, if I'm guessing. But yeah, that car as a daily, there are people who do it, but it'd be just very uncomfortable. But having a car like that, and if that, in my opinion, something that it was designed as a race car first and just turned into a road car, I think you could use that longevity as your long-term race car, but you would need, again, then another daily.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, you're going to wear it out.
I got something for you that kind of take my car.
Okay.
My Miata.
Okay.
Look at all these people that use their daily Miata as a race car.
Yeah.
And
So that actually blends perfectly into the other half of this question that I was thinking of. What car is it? What car is good for your daily and your part-time race car? Not full-time race car, your part-time, the guy that wants to come out 5-6 times a year to an autocross and race it. What car is that? And Adam hit on that. Miata's a great one.
Yeah, and that what's the new the BRZ?
Yep.
People, all the way down to
BRZ is a great example. I got a lot of people who are constantly racing that and dailing that.
The other car I think is a good one is the Ford Focus.
Yeah, I would
the RT ST.
Are you the Ford Focus?
Yeah.
Oh God, boy, would I love. I got to co-drive with one before, and
you mean Antonio?
No. Is it? No, he's just got the.
He's got.
Yeah,
he's got the Ford Focus, but his is the economy,
the red one,
the SE with an automatic transmission.
That's right.
He drives the hell out of it, though.
He does. Yep.
Right off the track.
Yeah.
Well, that too. Ford Focus, Miata, the RBZ. What else is out there? I've seen a couple of Fiestas.
Fiestas are good.
Yeah.
Mustang and Camaro are probably two of the big ones that constantly are seeing, not just at track day, but you see them at SCCA events. You see them at drag races. The only place I don't think you would see them is rally.
Durability too.
Yeah,
is pretty good on those cars.
Yeah. Corvette.
Yeah. It's possible. A lot of people don't necessarily daily their Corvettes. They do. Some do.
When you're retirement age and have your shorts on, then you do. You do,
yep, exactly. But they don't even get to drive every day, so...
Why are you looking at me? I don't have a vet yet.
Right.
Yeah, there's a good amount. But then you go, what is a day? More of an economy car we're talking about? Or are we talking about...
it can be anything. If you want to... It can be Mom's Impala. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're... I'm just trying to brainstorm what other cars.
Anything Subaru for rally.
Subaru, a WRX.
Yeah.
WRX, not necessarily rally, but for autocross.
Yeah.
People daily those things and then bring it out and autocross it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mini Coopers are another big one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of those in autocross, but I would imagine my son had a Mini Cooper. fun car. Actually, my daughter had one for a while too. Fun car to drive, super fun. I enjoyed it immensely, but it is a BMW product, and they do tend to break down.
Oh yeah.
So they're a little more fragile. You're going to pay for that autocrossing.
I believe there's a guy with WMC who races one.
Really?
Yeah. I think he races an older Mini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. What would be the opposite? What would be something you wouldn't like?
A Mini Cooper.
No, I mean like you would race that like
any BMW
races at the daily.
Yeah, well, we do see BMWs that get dailied in, like the 3 Series. What's Adam?
There was that one series out there.
What's
right?
Robin's BMW?
Her commuter
M2. She got an M2.
What is that? The 2017, 18?
No, hers is newer. It's 19
BMW
or 18.
M2 competition.
Yeah. I mean, that's a nice car.
She rallies the shit out of that.
She does rally it. Yep. So, and that's her daily, isn't it? So, there's that. But you're again, BMW product. You're going to pay when it breaks.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. What wouldn't you want to? Just because of fragility, or
I'm thinking on the well, I just thought of another daily, and I'm wondering if it would be good or not. So a daily, I'm wondering that would be good for actually racing is a Tesla, and the only reason and hang on. I see how you guys' guns out. You go like because I wonder if racing that car, definitely on maintenance, you're going to go through brake pads like crazy. Like in rotors,
because they're heavy,
and possibly in wheels too. But that's things that go through no matter what car you have. You're going to go through brakes, pads, rotors, etc., etc. But your drivetrain is never going to fail on you. The only time it could be is if you actually wreck it.
Never say never.
That's true. But comparatively to a gas motor racing,
well, I don't know. There are a lot of people that try to race those where they're allowed. You know, we've had a couple come out to autocross, and it looks fun. I didn't drive or ride in any of them before they were banned.
But then taking that electric car and leaving the track, it's going to perform the same going home, and your worries are...
If you can get home because you've used up all the battery.
True.
But I don't know about the durability of the motors. Like... Do they pay a price for that kind of on, off all the time? You can tune the heck out of those things so you get super acceleration and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But do those motors suffer more wear doing that? I don't know.
Well, the other thing is also actually, I just realized this, because we're saying for brake pads and consumption of those, is they actually... Do they consume as much as we think because they also use regenerative braking?
I don't know.
So does that mean it's less on the vehicle? Like, is a Tesla... actually possibly good daily and track car because of the possibly lack of maintenance and repairs compared to other cars.
Lack of moving components.
Yeah. I want to task you with finding somebody that races their Tesla so we can ask them these questions.
I know someone to ask.
Perfect.
Yeah, I exactly know who I'm going to ask.
We'll circle back on that.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah.
Because we don't know. I don't know anything about them. Yeah.
But then let's just move that question the step forward.
Okay.
With any EV car, if that's a possibility of that, does that mean, way cars are going, would our answer change in say 5 years? Let's just say if EVs do take off more than they are and become more affordable and that they're there, would the answer then constantly be yes, because your car is going to be not failing, just
maybe,
maybe taking less wear. And Adam, what do you think of that?
I wouldn't do it with your Rivian.
Let me just comment on Tesla. So I took a Tesla around an autocross course, and I hated it.
Yeah? Is it because your face was glued to the back of the seat, or what?
No, they just handled like dog crap.
Yeah.
Well, they are extremely heavy.
Yeah.
They're not really built for agility.
I didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
I mean, it was fun to be able to hit the pedal and go. But I'm just not a fan of that one.
Not sold.
It'll be interesting to see something like an E-Ray or something that's specifically made
sports car.
A sports car, correct?
Yeah. we might get to see that. I don't know anybody that's purchased one yet, but it could happen.
Should we go buy one now? Just type it in right now.
I don't have the credit card for that, but if you do, let's go.
Well, so. We kind of we do a lot of follow, look with NASCAR and Indy cars, and now there's that electric Formula E.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going that way.
They're definitely trying.
I read an article about doing an electric NASCAR too. Not that it would do anything.
That would be interesting.
We like our loud cars.
Yeah, but that would be very interesting if having a NASCAR race electric, like cars that would be able to move at speeds of that as long as they do. That would be actually pretty impressive. Just, I'm not saying seeing it every time, but like actually having a feed of
it would
that
be
many
impressive
cars would be
if
like,
they could get that kind of mileage out of them.
Yeah,
that would be impressive.
And still staying at 200 something miles an hour.
I think, yeah. Well, and I think for racing purposes, those cars are really heavy. Electric is really heavy. We went through this on the last episode because all the batteries and that technology, right? It's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
If they can make a super featherweight battery and you can go 200 miles an hour for 2 hours, that's impressive.
Let me touch on this real fast. What if you, and just hear me out, what if instead of getting on battery tech and going with that, electric cars still there, especially for racing, but it's more dependent on tracks. You can get power from the tracks, kind of like a slot car.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, you save weight on your car and go that way.
Imagine how dangerous that would be.
I agree.
So that would be an interesting concept, but I think it would defeat the purpose, right? What is racing for? Yeah. It's for the
competition.
It's one, it's competition, but two, it's so the manufacturers can show us what they build, right? Show us that their car is the best.
They want to show you that daily driver can do just as well as the race car.
If you make the power in the track, you're removing that portion of the car.
Unless the highways become that way.
That's another topic. We'll
never
just
happen.
stop that right now. We'll just cut you off.
Okay.
Ridiculousness. All right. We're going to take a short break to hopefully fix some audio issues. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
Meep, meep.
All right. So our next topic,
Hi.
we'll get into a Liger update because I know you did a lot of work on it, but we're not going to do it right now.
Okay.
We'll do it a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So this was another Grant pull. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
In first gear?
It could have been first gear.
Okay.
Is it worth going to the junkyard for a budget racer? And what is considered junkyard gold?
Adam, have you ever been to a junkyard?
I got junkyard parts on my Miata.
Perfect.
Yeah. I've done it for a Miata, actually, because I did own a Miata for a couple of years.
I've been to junkyards to look for parts for Miata, but I always come back with Ford parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go as far as pull an engine and drop it in your race car and feel comfortable about it.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind pulling an engine, if you needed a block or something, you're going to get it cheap and then you're just going to rebuild, go through it.
Right.
I'd be all right with that.
I don't know, but I'd actually buy an engine from a junkyard and run in the car.
It
depends.
Just go ahead and start it and see how it is.
It depends on what you go and what, like first of all, you consider junkyard, right? Is that what you said? Or
yeah, junkyard.
Yeah, because there's. All right, let's clarify this. I think that's the first thing.
Always with the clarifications.
Always with the clarifications, because when you think junkyard, what's the first thing you think?
Wrecked cars.
You think no.
That's what I think.
I think totaled cars.
There you go. You think totaled, scrap, garbage everywhere, just pile up mud.
Well,
guard dog.
I know better than that. But I just think wrecked cars because that's what's there.
And I mean, there are wrecked cars there, but you got to remember, most junkyards are businesses. They're there to have it so either the cars are there so wrecked that they're selling for scrap metal,
right? Or
they're there so people can or so they can sell the parts off them.
Pick and pull, baby.
Pick and pull is a good example.
I love pick and pull.
Yep.
I think that is there's so much I could say about pick and pull and positives. But then you've got other places that don't allow you to pull, but they pull their parts off, like B&R Wrecking. I don't know, I can't remember some of the other places. That's what I mean.
Doesn't matter. You don't need to name them.
And then you also, do you consider junkyards like salvage auctions, like Copart?
Yeah, it's similar. They're just selling,
They're selling a car, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not against them by any means.
Yeah.
Just because I think of when you say junkyard, it's a pile of wrecked cars because
Yeah.
that's how they get
what it
there.
is.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like with the cars, like for pulling engines and transmissions and reliability, if you've got to go and pull it yourself, unless you knew that car came in that day, I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah.
No idea how long it's been sitting there. No idea how long, because people are coming and taking pieces off.
Oh,
you don't know if, they took off the manifold. Now it's been sitting out in the rain for, 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
If it's at a business that pulls your own motors, that I think I could trust. I'd have a lot more confidence saying this would be okay. And depending on, the rating of the business. Like B&R, nationwide, they have a warranty. You can buy it extended for a year. If something happens, you can always get another one from them. And they're fairly decent on their prices. But if you're buying something like off eBay, okay, it'd have to be a very special engine. Otherwise, it's like a huge gamble what you're taking on.
Well, and I've bought junkyard motors before, but I bought it for a specific reason.
And what was your reason?
My reason was I needed something that I could rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I went and found a motor that didn't have cracks or anything like that. And I bought it cheap, and I took it to somebody, had it hydro tested to make sure that the block was actually not leaking somewhere and didn't grenade it, right? And then I specifically bought parts and rebuilt that block into something new, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I didn't try to run it as is or anything like that. It was bought to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think for that purpose, it was great. It was perfect. Right? It did exactly what I needed it to do. And I spent like $300 buying the block. So, I think it was worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. What about...
I would love to be able to find a LS3 that's just ready to go.
Right. No, I can find you one.
I know you can.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of variations of that out there.
We're going to put that LS3 in Adam's Miata, right?
Yeah.
That's up to Adam. I think he wants a 302.
Yep, we'll stroke out a 302 and put in there.
There you go.
It'll fit better.
Yeah. I think one of the best parts for junkyards is not just motors. I think the better part for them, especially pick and pull, is the small parts.
Agreed.
There's so many times that I've needed a specific part that I can't get from a manufacturer or find anywhere online, or
discontinued,
or it's so gone that I can't build it again.
Yeah. And
finding a wrecked car that's there and find that specific, because sometimes people, like, for example, I think it was a better of 6 months. Adam, you remember this when I was trying to find my shift linkage for Liger back in the day? I'm not joking. I think it was like 6 to 9 months. And I searched like every weekend. I called up every parts place I Googled and eBay and tried to find. And the main thing was most places that sold transmissions either sold the shift linkage with the transmission or they didn't recognize it at all. And it was near impossible to find it. And this was when I was using the factory... what's the word? Shift linkage for Liger, but I had a short shift on it to it, which didn't come with that. And at the time, I was shifting so hard, I literally broke it. Couldn't weld it. I can't remember why. There was a reason that couldn't get it replaced. So, when it came down to it, I found the junkyard. I, wasn't a pick and pull, but I told the guys exactly what I was looking for. This was down like in Ashland. And I said, please, do you have this? It's specifically this part I'm looking for because they had the Mustang. And I said, I will drive 4 hours if you can guarantee me it's this one. Mm-hmm. And when I got there, they did that. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Nice.
And because, that's junkyards are places where you find gold at times.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
So at what point do you give up looking for that part and just have it machined? Because, that's always an option.
So let's just say back in the day when that was happening, that was not something I was thinking of. Yeah,
I don't think a lot of people go to that extreme. They're don't think of... That's an expensive option.
Yeah.
It
especially
is,
because you've got to... There's all kinds of stuff that goes into that. You have to actually have it CAD designed to be machined. And that's another level that I don't think you can pull up the CAD drawings on the internet and have that done.
But if you have a good machinist and the broken part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
You could take it in and have them build that part.
Yeah.
And depending on what that part looks like, you'd be surprised how inexpensive it is to actually do.
But that's assuming it's metal, because more likely, if it did break, it'd be something plastic. And nowadays, the way that the 3D printers are, and people, And
I don't know what kind of strength you get out of that.
But it depends on what you need and what it's used for.
Yeah.
Like for me specifically, that was a transmission part that was
metal.
Yeah.
And for
sure. Breaking literally, what was it, like a 3/8 or 3/4 inch bolt and a half or part of that. That was impressive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to shift really hard back in the day.
Apparently.
So, and
sounds like you were being extra.
Yeah. What was nuts was I think it was on my second or third shifter, not shift linkage, shifter. That's the one I started really like easing back how I was shifting, because it used to be like backlog on me. Like I drive on country roads, and when you're driving that way, you're trying to drive at the limit. You want to make sure everything's shifting. You gotta make sure it's in the gear, because if there's a cliff on the side,
that's an awful lot. Though. I mean, you're lean. That's ridiculous.
That's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
But and same with it on the racetrack. You're on the racetrack, you'd be like, okay, you're giving it 110%, and you've got to make sure everything works. So they make it work. Make sure it slams in gear. Don't recommend it. Recommend
Why do you have to push it that hard to get it into gear?
It's kind of, you have a short shift and I'm a big guy, and you forget.
He didn't have to push it that hard. He just did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're actually having to push it that hard to get in there.
Oh, there's a bigger issue.
You probably needed to figure out why it was doing that.
Mine's more just the speed that I'd throw it into, and just, the eagerness throwing it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bet you missed a lot.
No.
Mm-mm.
So back to topic at hand, rather than
the rabbit hole.
Grant's shifting issues. Junkyard Gold. Would you recommend for, we kind of always go back to the new mechanic or the new to race car parts, the new to beating up their cars? Would you recommend that guy go to a junkyard to get needed parts at a discount?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I would too.
Actually,
100%.
There's another use for junkyards too, and I've had some of my apprentices do this at times. But one of my friends learning how to actually wrench on cars and not having the ability at their house to do that. But they have a
go
car.
Take shit off of somebody else's car.
You go to a junkyard, you bring your tools, and you just spend a couple hours there. Pay $2 to go in and start wrenching. You need to figure out how to get to a certain part in your car, and you don't know if you want to mess up your current car and have a good idea. Just spend the day there and start tinkering on things.
Interesting.
It's a really good way to not only gain the parts you need, but also the skills you need. And if you mess up, guess what? There's probably another broken car there that you can just experiment on. And then it gives you the confidence. So when you're at home ready to get on your car, or you have the part you just took off the car to put on your car, boom, there you go. Yeah. Experience, level up.
Interesting. Yeah. I've never heard of or considered somebody just going there to.
But now, would you recommend that?
No. That's just me.
So,
hey, you should go to the junkyard and just take cars apart for fun.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of extra computers that I've pulled out of Subarus at Pick and Pull. And the reason I did that is my stepson's got a Subaru shit box that we've had to work on.
Doesn't have a fart can on it. It's not a shit box.
No, it's a shit box.
Basket case. There we go.
It is a basket case.
Yeah.
It definitely needs some love.
Yeah, I would highly recommend going to a junkyard and pulling parts for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What kind of gold have you guys found in junkyards?
I have not experienced enough to say that I've pulled gold. Okay. I mean, I went to the junkyard to pull Miata parts because I couldn't get the parts I needed in time for something, and junkyard had it, and I was like, I don't care if it's used, it doesn't matter.
Is that for a friend's Miata?
No, it's the one that Jamie and I had.
You guys had a Miata?
For a couple of years, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Huh. So, we fixed it. It had some wheel bearing issues and some other suspension issues. So
was that before the Corvettes?
No.
Because I know she's had the Z06 forever, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Didn't you have a Nissan? A Z?
Yeah, I had a 370Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
That's what you were racing when I first met you.
Yeah, I had the 370. We had the Miata at the same time and the silver Corvette all at once at a house with a 3-car garage, and just no room for any of it. But we stuffed it all in the garage. It was awesome. Anyway,
So
yeah, that's the only
gold.
stuff I pulled was for Miata.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have found a lot of stuff at the junkyard. So my 1964 Ford parts were not easy to find.
Oh yeah, that sounds like
And
junkyard gold.
they're even harder to find at junkyards now, right? Yeah. And so that, those parts were gold. I had a 88 Toyota pickup for a while that
That's probably pretty prevalent at the junkyard.
yes. And actually I found a junkyard in Bonnie Lake or something like that. I think it's gone now. It was called All Toyota.
Oh yeah,
That's all it had was Toyota parts.
that's cool.
And you could go in there back then and buy for like $150 or something like that, the rear diff from a Toyota pickup. Now those diffs, I think at that time you could sell them online for like $400, and you could pick them up for like $150. So if you had a extra hour or whatever, and you wanted to wander the junkyards, take $300, go pull two, have two of them in the garage, and
Make
you could
a couple bucks.
Yeah, you could make a few bucks. Yeah, I did that a few times. So that's actually where I bought that Toyota motor for the block to rebuild.
Okay.
How about you, Adam? What's your junkyard experience?
So I got a '66 Mustang, and it's still a project. So I don't.
Why
have
aren't we
projects.
talking about that one?
That's coming up. Did you not
honestly,
see the show notes?
I did
That's
not see
coming
the
up.
show notes. Damn it. Actually, I forgot that you even had that. I think I've seen a picture of it. Maybe at one point.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe at one point.
Yeah.
I think I got one on my Facebook too, but no. So that car I got has a 289 in it, but it had the 8.8 rear end. So I was able to find, I believe it was like a 85 Lincoln that still had the 9-inch rear end in it.
So swap that out, huh?
So I got that rear end pulled and mounted new. I did. Welded in new mounts and had them cut it, and so I got a 9-inch in my 66. I just need to have time to work on the damn thing.
What's the gear ratio in that?
I ended up putting 410s in it.
Okay. Low and quick.
410s.
Yeah.
I've been really
It'll be
debating.
quick.
I've been debating on putting that on Liger.
Yeah, you just don't have the top end.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
You can have my Miata 410.
Ooh.
Yeah, put that in Liger.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I would,
there you go.
Ruin that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I've got so much stuff I found from a junkyard.
Yeah, I want to turn a corner here for a second.
Oh,
What
hang on.
else? Let's talk about that Mustang for a minute.
Okay.
Like, Adam, where's it sit? What's the progress? What needs to happen to make it run?
So it ran 2 years ago, and then I ended up having some distributor issues. Dropped the distributor in it, adjusted the carburetor, bought a new carburetor, and I couldn't keep it. No matter what I was doing to it, I could not get it timed.
Really?
It would sit in the timing for a minute. As soon as I revved it, I'd jump time again. So it's just kind of sitting there. I've already done all the upgraded suspension for a lot more horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep debating if I want to stroke that one out to a 331 or 349.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't decided what I want to do with that car yet.
How come you put a 302 in it originally instead of like a 351?
So the 66, you got to do modifications to the shock towers,
Mm-hmm.
and the headers are very expensive.
Okay.
So theoretically, you could put the 351 Windsor in it.
Yeah.
But you just gotta do a bunch of bunch of modifications. There's so many damn parts out there that you can pretty much just pick and choose.
Yeah, I'll bet. What about, will you have to do the same thing for a 302?
No.
There you
No,
go.
because basically the 302s, 289, 302.
Yeah,
So
same block.
Same block.
Little bit different block, but it had the same motor mounts, I think. The 351 was a little bit bigger, but not much. But they had different motor mounts, different motor mount location, I think.
Adam, do you have GT40 heads on your Mustang engine, or do you plan on putting any GT40 heads on it?
you know, I've debated.
Mm-hmm.
I like bolt-on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll look at these Edelbrock Junior heads, and you can get the high-rise kit, and everything's pretty much dialed in, tuned in, and you pretty much bolt it on, and there's no fuss, no muss.
Mm-hmm.
GT40 heads, yeah, you can bolt them right on, but if you're going to do that, I don't know enough about them, or go get in a machine, and then what am I putting in? That's a little more work for me to think.
Yeah, it definitely allowed it to breathe a lot better, though. Get a heck of a lot more horses out of that engine.
You will with the Edelbrock Juniors
Yeah,
too.
maybe
true.
you can come up and help me with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're talking to the right guy, the Mustang guy, the Mustang guru over
Oh,
here.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a fun. She's a fun car.
What's the interior like? Is it all pristine, or you got a lot of work
it's
to
gorgeous.
do? Or really?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It needs a paint job, needs some body work. It's a 20-foot car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I don't
know.
mind a 20-footer.
What's been the goal of this project since you started it?
The Mustang?
Yeah, is it like you're ready to go full restoration? Are you like a hot rodder for the weekends with it? Is it a cruising car?
I want to cruise the streets, and if I want to give it some gas, I want to give it some gas, but not something that I would ever think racing.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there was like a classic race up at the Ridge or at PIR where you let it loose and everybody's just as cautious as you are, so you don't hit anybody.
Yeah, that's fair. No, it sounds like a good cruiser, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of it sounds flippin' amazing.
What have you done to it in terms? Because you said you did a lot of suspension upgrade for power. What's been done to that project?
So nothing on the transmission or engine.
So it's got a T45 or T5.
No, it's an automatic.
Oh, okay. Are you going to keep it automatic or switch it eventually?
Nope, it's gonna switch.
Okay.
I actually have the transmission in the shop for it.
Nice.
But upgraded suspension, all new bushings, completely brand new brake system. Nothing.
So no drums
high
anymore.
horsepower.
It's got the rotors now.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I did the rotors because it was drums all the way around. Bushings. Yeah.
Is that the original?
Pretty much.
Is that the original motor in it?
Yep, it's the original motor.
How many miles?
12.
One. I'd have to look at the speedometer.
It's over
gauge
100,000.
again. 130 something.
That's not bad.
No, actually.
That's about where Liger's. Actually, I got more miles on Liger than that, but not by much. I can't remember though. Is yours a fastback or a coupe?
No, it's a coupe.
Okay.
It's a coupe. Pretty much baby blue.
Nice.
Do you like the coupe look more than the fastback, or what do you think of the fastbacks on the Mustangs?
My favorite's Eleanor.
Okay.
How can you? Yeah. I love the lines on the fastback.
Mm-hmm.
They're just when you're sitting there budgeting what you can get and what you can afford. coupes are a whole lot cheaper than finding a fastback.
That's true on that
Yeah,
one.
those fastbacks are pretty sweet.
luckily-
Or finding an older convertible. That just good luck on that one.
Are you guys convertible guys? Do you like convertibles?
Oh, that's a whole different topic.
I know. I'm opening the can of worms, spilling them all over the floor.
Adam, you go first on that one.
No.
He says no.
Okay.
I hate convertibles with a passion.
Oh, he's passionately hating.
My wife wants one.
rough.
The only convertible I could feel comfortable in would be like a Jeep that had a roll bar.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Rob?
No, I don't like convertibles.
Am I the only one who likes convertibles?
Apparently.
And I'll put a star next to that one. I do like convertibles. So one thing my old man has taught me, because almost all of his cars are convertibles. Except I think, let's see how many we got. Well, depending on how many we go through, it's either like one or two or not. And the main thing he always taught me was like, if you have a car that you love and it's a special car, like say a Ferrari, for example, he's like, you don't want to drive that daily. You want to save that for a weekend where the sun's out. You want to take your top off and just enjoy the road. You want to hear the sound best you can. You want to enjoy the warmth. You want to hear the wind on your face and have the radio up and just cruise.
Yeah, it's too loud.
And for me, it's like
that wind in your head, that's way too loud.
I mean, when I had hair, it was nicer, but still, it's now aerodynamic.
Yeah.
That's why Rob said head.
Yeah. I don't know. I do like the convertible uses. A lot of cars I do like the look of a coupe better, but having a convertible option is so nice because there's times it's like 86 degrees. Say I'm in my truck going to the beach. Heck yeah, I'm gonna throw the sunroof down and the windows down. I mean, it's not a full convertible then. Or if I'm in, let's just a better example, if I'm in a Viper, I'm gonna drop the top on that and go. Now I'll say this: a Viper convertible with the top up is so freaking scary, especially if it's raining because you can't see anything out of it. But on a coupe, it's a lot more open and you can see a lot more out of it. So there's pros and cons on which ones.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to larger cars like Mustangs, those are convertibles. I'm not about. Same like with any 4-door or any like say an older Impala, whatever.
That I could get into. A big land yacht with a convertible.
Actually, there is one. There is one. A Lincoln. 1966 Lincoln Continental convertible, black with a white interior. That is one of the 4 doors big land yachts that I would love to have.
Or I would, an old Galaxy 500.
Woo boy. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, one of those. I could even do one of those with the drop top. Because you're gonna jump in that, you're gonna drive it to the bar, you're gonna drive it to
That's the drive to the beach car.
That's right.
The big land yacht. That I could dig. But
have you guys ever had a land yacht like that?
No, I've ridden in a couple. And
Adam,
I think
have you?
Pretty cool.
No.
Jeremy,
Look at that Lincoln Continental with
have you ever had a land yacht, or have you guys ever known of anyone who's had a land yacht? Like had the experience, or you're with the boys and the toes down?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay, I've never experienced that.
Oh yeah,
in a big
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, the things just float, right?
Yeah.
They just glide along.
My son's mom had a Buick Riviera.
Oh, cool.
Oh, those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The late 60s Buick Riviera. Yeah.
It was newer than that. It was like 70s.
Okay.
Buick Riv. It was pretty cool though. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was one of those ones, you felt like you had to throw the anchor out to get it to stop.
One of these?
Yes.
Yeah.
But circling back, because we were talking about Mustangs originally, the one thing I always wanted to try is like the classic 60s Mustang convertible. Not to own, but it'd be nice to know what it's like as a livable car. Like, how's it sound with the roof up? Is it going to be just like completely wind noise? Is it going to be, does it leak? Does it seal right? If you're driving with that, and the top's actually down, how does it affect the handling? Because it's not going to be the same as a coupe. The structure's gone.
Right, structure's
So, like, is it going to be like how everyone said, their Mustangs can't handle worse shit?
Well, and I think that's part of the issue, or I'm sorry, issue is probably the wrong word. Part of the thing about convertibles, it's a different use. That car is, you're not going to go sport driving that car. I'm sure people do it. Don't get me wrong. But for me,
a lot of people die doing it too.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
And that's why, not
a fan of sports car convertibles.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sports car convertibles.
Yeah. Because I do like the land yacht. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Would I own one? Maybe.
What's the coolest convertible you've ever seen?
Ooh. Okay, other than that one, other than a 1966 Lincoln Continental black on white with a convertible top, other than that, oh, that's a tough one. I want to say...
Is there such a thing?
An F50. Probably an F50 or a 550 Barchetta.
F50 convertible.
You know, because all the F50s came in convertibles.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. They had a hard top that you could place on it, but they would come off.
Oh.
Yeah. So those were that one. Maybe a Lamborghini, the Reventon convertible. Oh, no, you know what? Lamborghini Gallardo. It was a concept version. It was the Lamborghini Gallardo, like do
you got
something.
Very Italian right there.
It's a Gallardo, but there's two cockpits. They had a bar and two windows that separated the passenger from the driver, and it was a roadster. I think they only made one or maybe two. Very different type of car. But that was like a Lamborghini makes really nice convertible sports cars when it comes to that. Roadsters, I should say. But their roadsters, I think, are full roadsters. You don't get a top. I think the last ones you could get was the Mercies. After that, when they actually said roadster, I don't think you have a top, but don't quote me on that one, because that one I'm not positive.
Adam, what do you think?
Convertible fan or not, Adam?
Adam, are you there?
I don't know. We might have lost him. Like
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, I keep going in and out.
What do you think is the coolest sports convertible, or any convertible, or have you seen one?
Besides, Shelby Cobra.
Ooh.
Okay.
Well, that is valid. That's
that's true.
Yeah.
Because have you seen the coupe versions of those?
Yeah, I don't like them as much.
Daytona.
It's called the Daytona, and that is
I don't like those as much.
awesome.
I'll give you that. Okay. I'm going to retract my hate them with a passion.
There you go.
I'm not retracting it. I still don't like them, but that's fine.
So Rob's a Daytona guy.
It's definitely not my preference.
Yeah.
Rob, what do you got? What are you thinking?
I don't like any of them. 68 Impala.
Okay, I could get behind that.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool.
Something you could cruise.
Well,
cruise
and the
around
body lines of that vintage, I kind of like the more square edged body lines. So I think, I don't know, that's kind of what attracts me to those cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There we go.
What about
listener, look up a 1968 Impala convertible.
Rob, do you feel the same way about trucks then? Like, say, a Scout or a Jeep or a Bronco?
So that's where I was going.
Yeah, I mean,
Dodge.
One of these days we need to talk about Scouts.
Honestly, I've never been able
Truck
to
me.
drive or ride in one of those with the top off.
Yep.
So I don't really know.
One of these days, Rob, we're going to get you to go topless.
So
nobody wants to see that.
Dodge had an old military 2.5 ton.
Oh, really?
That I really liked that had a drop top on it.
Okay.
And then I think there was a Jeep J10 or something like that in the early 80s that they had a soft top on.
Mm-hmm.
Those weren't awful. And then the Jeep Gladiators, the new Jeep Gladiator, those have a soft top version
I've seen that.
I'm okay with.
Okay.
But it has like some sort of a roll bar over the top of you also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
gives you that extra false sense of security.
Well, that's right. That's
I don't know. Like, for example, on a Mustang that's convertible, it's an like for my generation up, they make an aftermarket roll bar that goes in the center, and I think that's something that's needed on those cars. A, to help the lines on it, but B, for safety. You know. Random question: does a half track considered a convertible?
A what?
A half track?
I don't know what that is.
Like a World War II, like kind of like truck.
I don't think that's a car.
That's a truck.
It's not really street legal.
Okay. But any of those trucks, like with the canopy top in the back.
Completely sidetracked.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not even the same. That's
Back to Mustangs.
Yeah.
Adam,
Yes.
question for you. Do you have any update on Woody?
One of those projects that are just sitting there waiting for me to have time to do them.
Well, now you got to tell us what Woody is.
Yeah. I love that project, by the way.
Adam's got
That's such a cool car.
Adam's got a lot of projects, and this kind of harkens back to episode 3 or something, where we talked about how many projects is too many projects.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I broke the rule on
I
that
think
one.
Grant still has me beat.
I think he does. I think you're right. I think he does. But you had a couple BMWs at one time too, so I feel like you were getting close.
That's true.
Yeah, definitely gave up on the BMWs. We ended up. I think Tristan took one. I think he still plans on doing something with turning it into a drift car.
Yeah.
The other one that we were going to build for autocross finally just gave in and got rid of it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that would have been a good track car build, but so it goes. I'm sorry. What was I totally?
Woody.
What is Woody?
Yeah, Woody.
What is
Woody?
Woody. So it is a what? I don't even remember what the title is.
I think
But it's a 19 Model A frame.
Mm-hmm.
And
1900?
Yeah, it's a 1930 Model A.
1930.
Okay.
1930.
Yeah.
And it has a inline 5 Audi motor in the rear
It's mid-engine.
with a supercharger on it.
Rob, have you never seen this car?
No, I don't believe I have.
I'm going to pull up a picture.
Here you go. Here's a Model A.
Oh, it doesn't look like that, the kind of Model A.
It's a Model A coupe.
That thing's
It
pretty
used to race
That's
out
not
at
a Woody.
PIR at the Rose Cup days.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the lady wanted to get rid of it. I'm like, I don't have a project to do.
And now you've got too many.
Yeah.
It's such a cool car. It's, in my opinion, it looks like what you would assume a Formula One car would look like in the 30s.
That car right there is not a Formula One.
No, that one's not. I'm trying to see if I pull a picture
All right,
of it.
so I need
It's-
a better description of what this thing is. 'cause
It's made of wood. The previous owner was a... Sorry to interrupt, Adam. I also know a
No,
little bit
you're
about
good.
this
You're
car.
good. I'm trying to find a picture so I can send a picture over.
Okay. So this car, and how I know about it was because the lady I bought the Lamborghini from originally, her husband was a race car builder, and that was one of the cars that he had built back in, I believe, he used to build multiple wooden race cars like this one. And this one was his third one done, because he'd buy and then sell them or change them up and whatnot, you know. And he built this one, I think, in the mid 2000s or so, and like Adam said, raced at PIR. It originally had, because there was pictures of it, the Jaguar V12, I believe, was originally into it.
into the Woody.
Into the
Because I
Woody.
thought that was for the Lamborghini.
No. So because he had a Jaguar dragster as well.
Yeah.
There's pictures of that V12 in there, but he swapped it out for the Audi motor. So I'm not
Now
gonna
wait,
say-
is this the same car that Adam has?
correct? It's the same car he's got.
Oh, that's where he got it. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so-
yeah. Jeez.
I'm seeing if I could pull a picture of this. I got so many
it
pictures.
was one of those deals that was really hard to say no to, and needless to say,
And
I didn't say no to.
And the big thing
Yeah.
is the lady, she was looking for a really good home that would take care of it, because that was a car that, you know, her husband put a lot of passion into and built up. Let's see, hang on. No, I'm getting close. Here we go. So here's a picture of Woody real fast.
I have seen this picture.
Yeah.
So is it really based on Model A? That's like that has a.
The wheels are from a Cobra, I believe, and
Well, I was
some
going
of
to
the
say it
brakes are
looks
from
like
a Cobra.
the whole front clip is from a Mustang or something like that. That's
It is from a 1929. I found the title.
I'm sorry.
wow.
Model A.
Okay.
Here's the back of it.
And it's
Yeah,
probably got like a Mustang 2 front end.
Well,
and-
that's what I think too,
Yeah.
because the thing is super wide.
Yeah. And the back end opens like a clamshell. Anyway, so what I was saying is it used to race. The old lady, once her husband passed, it kind of just sat there and was there for years. like I said, at some point the owner decided to take out the V12 Jag motor and put into the Audi engine into it. So it's an Audi 5-cylinder supercharged. You at some point you got that running, didn't you, Adam?
Yeah. So we ended up getting it running, and ran it for probably 3 or 4 minutes, and found out everything was homemade and definitely probably not in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
But the manifold that the supercharger was sitting on wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
It was sucking air every which way from all the busted welds.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of left it. I just need to find somebody to fabricate that part, then I can put it back together. And
I wonder if, because it's an intake manifold, if instead of having it made of metal, you could just have it 3D printed with really good plastic.
I would think that would get too hot.
Well,
interesting.
Because of different material. I mean, there might be a different plastic that could take the heat. But what I'm saying is that would be something that would be cheaper, and then as well as something that would be, you go and find a designer and just have them literally pull it out for you.
Well, maybe not printed, but maybe machined out of plastic, because you can do that too. You get a harder plastic, something that is more tolerant to the heat, because 3D printing, they melt the isn't that how it works? It melts the plastic into form as it prints it.
Yeah.
So if you got a higher temp plastic and then had it machined, it still might be cheaper than your solid block of aluminum that you're machining this intake out of.
That's true.
It's a thought.
Something to look into.
What do I know?
Yeah.
Well, you can print in ABS now too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It just takes a higher temp nozzle.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when it gets really hot, the way you can make a 3D printer have raised sections, you can make it for metal inserts if need be.
Oh. Yeah.
So that would be a thing. But that might be something to look into, Adam.
Yeah. No, I like it.
After you get the Miata done and the Mustang done and the
Volkswagen Bug.
Oh, I forgot about the Bug. You're telling me.
I'll start tattle on you, Adam.
Hold on.
You say I have more projects than you?
Yeah, I think you're about to tie him up.
We failed this.
Yeah,
we should have asked this at the beginning.
Oh man.
Oh, it's because I wasn't here.
Yeah,
I wanted to be here to hear all these projects.
Absolutely. How's the Bug project coming? The bright purple.
So Robin has a 1970 V-Dub Bug. So we got a wild hair up our ass, and she's like, I want to redo it. So we stripped the car down to bare metal. Actually taught me a lot, because how to do body work and Bondo, and ended up buying myself a welder and taught myself how to spot weld. And so we've Rob and I've put a lot of hours into this thing, and it's been sitting for 3 years with the new paint job, 2 years with the new paint job.
That's not
ready to be put
that's
back
not
together.
too bad. That's like right around where my Fiat's at right now, about 2-3 years been sitting with a paint job.
But there is a project that I do want to add.
Oh, see? Okay, now he's beating me on projects.
Yeah.
We're up to what, 5?
I haven't pulled the trigger on it, though.
Okay.
What do you think about... I love NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about next gen, the new gen Cup car, and turning that into an autocross car?
Ooh. Jeremy, go. You have thoughts.
I do have thoughts. It's doable. With the right balance, you could probably build a pretty nice car out of it. Should have plenty of power.
Well, that all depends on your power
plant.
Right. Yeah, depending on what you put in it, I guess. And then...
but lightweight.
Lightweight.
Is there ever too lightweight? Is there ever such a thing as too lightweight?
It depends on the balance.
Well, those cup cars weigh about 3,300 pounds.
Really?
Are they that heavy?
Wow.
That's surprising.
Yeah, that's actually really surprising.
And that's their... That's what they have to have the car at.
That's their minimum weight.
Interesting. So for me, my thought was on something like that is, would it be too stiff for autocross?
You can loosen them up.
Well, I'm not talking just suspension. I mean, like literally the rigidity of
rigid frame and all.
Yeah. I mean, to soften up, you put more springs into it because you're doing a lot more because they're built for high speed track.
Yeah.
And in some cornering, but not like an autocross where it's like corner, straight, brake, corner.
Right.
You know?
Right. So I have a more basic question. Where are you going to get this?
So
Glad you asked.
But funny you ask.
Yeah.
They are all over you can find, I mean, maybe not the next gen, the one they're running this right now.
Right.
But you can find them anywhere from the 2000s, the Monte Carlo 2000s, all the way up to
I have. Yeah.
2014. I saw one, and you're talking probably $8 to $10,000 for these as a roller.
As a roller, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, the reason I asked that, I think, is because that site that I was looking at, the Project Cars, I found 2 rolling stock car chassis on there. I don't remember the cost. I just ran across them. I was like, well, that's interesting. I mean, it'd be fun to build one just to put it on track. We don't have any circle tracks around here, not close by.
I mean, big track, that might be fun too. So here's the thing.
Yeah, big track
for the
would be
cost
fun.
of that, you can get used. I mean, a little bit more. I mean, I've seen them for 18. I've seen them as low as 26. I've seen them like all over the place. But because you're buying a roller for 10, so you're probably going to put in another $8,000 into it. So you're looking at like
Minimum.
Yeah. So I've seen sites also where you could buy like Formula cars.
Oh, yeah.
And
I found a
would
Formula
that be better
Continental.
than
No, harder to find a place to race it. There's a lot more stipulations on getting that on track.
for
'Cause
autocross?
No.
Because we're talking purely autocross, right? Adam?
Okay. All right. I'll
Adam?
Yeah, I just think how cool
your
would that
maintenance
be
level's
to
a lot higher.
Yep.
come to a autocross and you just see a NASCAR out there.
Just see
I'm
Dale
with you.
Earnhardt.
I'm with
That'd
you.
be
I
kinda
think you
sick.
should do it.
Yeah.
I back
yeah.
this 100%.
I think it'd be a fun project.
It would be a fun.
Yeah.
It'd be an awesome project. Yeah. I'll even help you find a chassis.
What would you put? Because all of them, they're like stickers to represent which car they are, right? You know, because they don't.
Oh, you got to
they don't-
sticker kit that thing
Yeah.
up. I'm thinking Wonder Bread, Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby. Absolutely. You got Fig Newtons on the
If
windshield.
you're not first, you're last.
If you're not first, Yep. That's that.
Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake.
It'd definitely be a throwback for
This
sure.
sticker is dangerous and inconvenient, but I do love Fig Newtons. Yep.
So-
I'm with you. That's what you need to do.
Rob, you made a comment. There's not
Yeah, 'cause I
really
need
any
another
circle
project.
tracks here.
Yeah, there is.
There's tons of circle tracks, but most of them are dirt here.
There you go.
Where?
Banks.
St.
Vernonia.
I said locally. I know that the further you travel, there are
Banks
some.
isn't that far.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
Banks
not.
from here is like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I can guarantee that because I got friends who live in Banks who visit me.
Okay.
All right. St.
I
Helens.
stand
St. Helens
corrected.
is
St. Helens is a little farther.
Vernonia is a
stand
little bit
corrected.
further.
Vernonia's
My
even farther.
circle track knowledge is limited.
Isn't there one like in
There's one in
Tualatin
Tenino.
or Wilsonville or something?
There's one in Tenino also.
No, it's farther south.
I know there's one on the outskirts of Salem.
Salem.
Yeah. And that's a big
What's
city.
just north of Salem?
Portland.
Kaiser.
Kaiser. At the fairgrounds there, they do under the big cover. They do a circle track.
No, we're gonna have to go watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Well, racing season's starting to come up from.
When I was a kid, me and my family, my dad and I, and my mom, sometimes we would go to the local track there in Eugene, which is now closed, and I think they built a
If you want to do that,
shopping center
I've
on
got
it.
one of my,
But we used to go and bet on the cars and that kind of stuff. It was great fun.
if you want to do some of that, one of my best friends, his family does circle track driving, and they've got multiple cars. And
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That'd be
I can
fun as
contact him, and we'll go down. We'll be in the pits and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's more into Pokemon now, but he's a racer at heart as well.
We'll go watch the race cars.
Yeah.
I think that sounds fun.
But yeah, Adam, that would be such a cool project to see at the track and racing around.
I back it 100%, Adam.
Yeah. What motor would you put in it?
Probably 351.
Yeah, Windsor, or Cleveland.
Windsor. Easier to get.
No,
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Yeah, that's
Easier to get.
So much lighter.
Easier to get.
Cleveland's are
If-
a lot heavier too. Yeah.
Are they?
If someone threw a 427, 428, or 429, say the cost was decent for that, Would you put that in there over a 350 or 351?
Well, but the weight, you have to balance the weight of that and what you're going to get out of it.
And see, that's why I would go the 351 because that's pretty much what they run. Mm-hmm. So they already got all the weight dialed in.
Okay.
But if you go in to throw a big block in there, you're going to be so nose heavy that
it's going to throw the balance off.
I think it would throw the balance off and not be as much fun.
Big blocks are.
That's true, but as stiff as those cars are, and as well as the suspension you could dial in, would you think it really would make the nosedive that much?
Yeah, your balance is still off.
Because where they mount the motor in those, right? They move it back a little bit so you get a little better balance of the car, and it makes the suspension easier to dial in. Mm-hmm. So if you throw that off by a couple of 100 pounds, that's going to make a big difference. I mean, maybe you're not going to notice it for going playing around in an autocross, but
yeah, Adams.
What would your reason be that you want to throw that big?
Just because,
just looking for more horsepower.
A horsepower, just because. I figured they also the more NASCARs run, the bigger blocks in there. Like newer ones, I expect them to run smaller blocks, but I'd say like an 80s or 90s NASCAR would have a big block in it.
I think they were limited by rules even at that point. Maybe early on in the late 60s, 70s when they're doing NASCAR, they might have been open to that. But
early 70s is, I know, when they had either aero or you had motors, and they limited your size of it, and that was due to the Daytona.
Yeah, there was all kinds of.
So I know they had
rules, and they changed them every other year because somebody would do really good and be like, "Nah, you can't do that anymore."
But I still know going into 72, 71, they still had the big blocks you can get of like a 440 or 428 or something like that.
Yeah, I do recall that.
Mm-hmm.
So I open a can of worms for you.
Go for it.
Okay.
No, did I?
Oh yeah,
the NASCAR thing.
Absolutely.
Oh, it don't matter. That's all good. It's all good.
Didn't we get NASCAR back at PAR?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we get the Xfinity series.
Are we going back this year? Are we going to go? Adam, you can join us.
I'll go. 100%. I'll go. Yeah. Well, don't they have the truck series too? I think they did.
I don't know about the truck series.
Yeah,
I know
NASCAR is a truck series.
Cup cars.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun to watch those.
What
guys.
do those look like? Are they like? Are they actually look like trucks? Or are they actually look like a stencil goes over and they all have to look the same?
Well, pretty much.
The same
They've got those
style.
rules. Absolutely, everybody has to fit into a certain mold, quote unquote mold,
quote unquote. But
yeah, it's a pickup truck.
I gotta see one.
Yeah, you gotta look at that.
Because
I'll get you one here, but Adam's running up against a time limit, so I want to throw this last thing out here and get Adam's input on it. Coolest thing you saw this week, car related. What's the coolest thing you saw?
Ooh. Saw or heard about?
Well, I'd prefer saw.
Besides my golf ball going about 280 yards.
Yes, besides that.
Car-wise, right?
Yeah.
Vehicle-wise.
Coolest thing. My dash coming together for the car.
There you go.
We can deal with that. I mean, you're getting your car ready to go. That's great.
Yeah, that's probably mine. Just seeing everything finally paying off and coming together right at the last minute, like always.
Yeah, I know that feeling all too well.
There you go.
Oh, that's a cool truck.
NASCAR truck series.
It's like a mini truck.
They're like half-ton size.
Yeah.
Huh.
All slammed to the ground, like a C10, half-ton C10.
Yeah, it's just weird. Is that a modern one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's just weird because it looks like a 90s truck.
Well, I mean, that's a little older picture, but they haven't changed a whole lot from that.
Huh.
All right, Jeremy, coolest thing you saw this week?
Same body style truck we have. Slightly lifted. Mud tires. And kind of that gray, gunmetal gray.
I love that color.
Nardo
gray.
I love that.
Yep.
That was probably the coolest thing I've seen all week. Yeah, it was tall enough I couldn't even see into the bed or the cab of the truck.
Yeah. I know you like the lifted trucks.
I do.
Yeah.
That was probably the coolest thing. Had lights and shit all over it too. Two antennas, two CB antennas.
Oh man, you were just jaw dropped.
I did.
Grant's deep in thought. You got one? Did you get one?
Because like today I saw a 72 yellow Stingray, and that was pretty nice, like bright yellow.
Yeah.
But I know I saw something really random recently on the road, and I want to say it was like I want to say it was a Miura, but it wasn't. It was like of that kind of era and of that kind of prestige. Like it was. God, what was it? It wasn't a Ferrari.
What color?
That's what I'm trying to remember everything about it, because all I can think of is yellow Corvette right now.
Yeah.
That thing caught my mind. It was really pretty.
Well, that obviously is it.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
It sticks out in your head.
Well, it's also tough because I see a lot of Italian sports cars, and I'm like, oh, that was cool. But it doesn't like blow my mind because I'm just kind of...
No, that's everybody's perspective.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I'm
like,
asking.
I still, when I see those cars, they're really cool. But like, it's seeing something I'm not used to, like for example, like Stingray. I don't see one of those every day, and those just it's when one's done right and someone's taking the care and the time. It's a very pretty car.
Nice. Yeah. Actually, was looking at a '78 Corvette
Pacer or Anniversary.
No, just regular Stingray. Actually thinking about buying it.
Really?
Yeah. Just because.
That'd be cool. One of my favorite cars is the '78 Pacer Corvette.
Yeah.
I had so many opportunities in high school to buy one.
Yeah.
Always want one, but man, they are going up in price.
Yeah, they are. Now's the time to get it if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So my thing that I saw is called an Argo.
Oh
Centaur.
Yeah, you sent that thing.
Argo Centaur.
That thing's dope. You actually saw one this week.
Listener needs to look up an Argo, ARGO Centaur, Centaur.
Describe that.
It is an amphibious vehicle with 78-inch tires. I think that's what it said. They're ginormous. I think they are 78s, it says in here somewhere. 55 horsepower diesel engine. 26 inches of ground clearance. Oh, it's 71-inch low-pressure tires.
You want to know the best way?
Ginormous.
You want to know the best way to describe that thing? It's if a monster truck tried to be a Mini Cooper.
Yeah, kind of, right?
You know what the coolest thing about that thing?
So tiny.
It's
like short, but it's so big.
It's so big. It's skid steers, so you've got these
tank controls.
Tank controls, basically, yeah. So it's just wildly cool.
You know what one of the coolest things about that is?
What?
They're designed for tundra.
Yep.
And they will float.
That's
cool.
Amphibious. That's what that means. Yes.
Yeah.
It land and water. No.
It moves in the water due to the wheels.
And the tires, the tread on the tires they're like paddles. So once it gets in the water, it just spins. It's crazy cool. Price tag of $150,000.
That's not too bad.
With a $2,500 additional charge for factory delivery.
Dang. You might be able to find one cheaper.
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. It's brand new. $150,000 is brand new. 2023.
That's a brand new one, yes. They were made in Russia, and they've been building them a long time.
They just started importing them here,
okay.
Though. So
wait, we're importing? What?
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised on that.
Yeah. Canada and the Ukraine is manufacturer. So they do manufacture in Canada so that they can import them here. The Russian ones we cannot get.
The one thing is the way that thing's set up. If you hit like a rock or a piece of wood,
it feels like
at the wrong angle, flip right over.
Yeah.
I mean, if the wheels are any bigger, it'd be like that old like RC car where it could be upside down and flip. You know what I'm talking about?
And then you just gas it and it flips itself back over.
Flips itself back over.
Yeah. Adam, I don't know if you looked that up, but you should. It's
ARGO.
Awesome. Argo. Yep.
I'm going to look it up. I actually got to log off here with you guys.
I appreciate your time. Thank you, sir, for letting us badger you for the last couple of hours.
Thank you for coming on, Adam.
Thanks for coming on the show.
No, if you guys ever have me on again, if I didn't bleach it out too bad, I'll come down and hang out with you guys.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll have you in studio next time.
I can't wait to see you and Robin this weekend.
All right. Robin says hi to all y'all, and we'll see you this weekend.
Hi, Robin.
Take it easy.
Bye.
All right, bye.
All right. Bye.
Gentlemen, I think that's it for tonight. Thank you.
We're not talking about Liger. We're not talking about
I forgot about
project.
We have no secret project updates, but yeah, let's get an update on the Liger because I know you did some serious
midnight
work on
stuff.
that thing. Yeah.
Where do you want to start? How should we start with that?
Let's start with the electrical.
Yeah.
that you traced down some phantom voltage.
So,
I was honestly, you told me about this the other night at 10:30 at night or whatever it was.
And I called you right after me, huh?
Yeah. He had the double check in.
You know me, when it's race season, I'm at the shop till midnight, 1 a.m.
I know.
wrenching.
You were lucky I was still up.
Yeah.
But I was kind of blown away at you tracing down, finding these phantom. Anyway, go ahead, go into it.
So the thing, you and me talked last time, Rob. Jeremy, you were gone in this segment, but we talked about when they replaced the wire harness and solving that whole issue. So Liger has a new radiator fan, a new wire harness in the front end of it, at least, okay? Because on the Mustang, there's multiple wire harnesses. You have one that's apparently dedicated to the fan and the lights in the front. The second wire harness is dedicated to the engine ECU and the management in there. Third wire harness is for, I believe, general interior and kind of sound system and security and all that jazz, right? So what I had found is after replacing the wire harness, I was still running into an issue where the car left overnight or a couple of days would be dead constantly, okay? And so figuring out that, I decided to do an amp draw test on there where I'm disconnecting the negative battery and putting a digital multimeter onto the negative battery post to then the negative cable, making sure to separate. Because if that touches, it's going to fry my thing.
Right.
So that being said, it showed an amp draw of 2.5 amps, which is a good amount of amps, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, 2.6 amps.
I mean, it'll kill the battery.
That's a significant drop.
It's not a lot, but over 2 days,
it'll kill it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and that's and to give the listener an idea, stock for a Mustang is 0.05, roughly, is what forums were saying, is about what the car should be when it's fully off, like nothing turned on, right? So with Liger running at 2.5 amps, I'm like, something's going on. This is a concerning issue, especially after just having a wiring harness replaced. The possibility of like, if something is open and grounding out now, because power can just drain off if you have an open wire that's actually live, could possibly risk of a fire. So I'm like, this is something you don't put off. This is something you need to dedicate and figure out time for. So running through the wires, trying to figure out what's going on, I decided to start going through and do the first thing, go to the fuse box, start pulling fuses, start pulling relays. Make sure you take a picture, make sure you know where everything's at. And let's see what it narrowed down to. And pulling fuses, I found right off the bat 3 fuses that would start reducing power. 2 of them were for the SJB, Smart Control Junction Module, which is essentially the ECU for the interior, which controls all the interior lights, and controls the radio, it controls security management system and airbags. And the second one was for the radio. So removing the SPJs would drop it about an amp and a half, leave me about 1. Pulling the other one would leave it with the radio and drop that to about, the lowest I got was 1.2, right, Jeremy? I know I called Jeremy several times to be giving them updates because I was excited.
Not 1.2, it's 0.12.
0.12, sorry. 0.12, yeah. Amps, going through that. So tracing it back after plugging in plugging all the fuses back in and saying, okay, it's come to these 3. The Mustang actually has a second port of fuses, which is in the interior at the SJM Smart Control Module. No, SJ. Let's just call it an ECU. At the interior ECU, there was fuses there and going through, and nothing. Pulling all the fuses, all the relays on it, didn't do anything.
Wow.
So trying to figure out what's going on with that one. I started to address the radio one first. I'm like, okay, let's figure this out. Going through, what I determined with the radio is with Liger specifically, having a Shaker 1000 sound system, which was from the factory. She at some point had the 6-speed or 6 disc changer in there, and a long time ago, one of the problems I was having. I'm talking like nearly a decade ago. The 6-speed CD changer would constantly be rotating through CDs, or trying to. And what I found taking apart the head unit itself is that there was a gear made of plastic, and it had stripped inside. And this is before 3D printing and everything. So actually, I can get that fixed. Anyways, but that had stripped out, and so now it was kind of just useless in there. And by being stripped out, the ECU was saying to the radio, hey, check to make sure the CDs are going. Okay, boss, you got it. And would constantly run the motor because it was searching for CDs, but it wouldn't be moving.
It's weird that they would have that constant checking for CDs.
Yeah.
Like, what's the purpose of that?
It's to keep track of which CD is where, because it's on like not a cam system, but on a separation system.
Yeah, but it would need to do that when the car's off?
It would do that when the car is... Let's see, how do you do this? It would do it when the car's off periodically. I don't know how to do this, how to say this, because you're right. It shouldn't be doing that.
You wouldn't think.
You wouldn't think. I know, like, at times it would do it, but it wouldn't do it every time. I bet you, like, after the keys are removed, it would do it probably for 15 or 10 minutes till, like,
till it shuts down.
Yeah, till all the capacitors are off in the car and going through and checking through, make sure, hey, this is where it's supposed to be. No issues going through. So with that off and gone, that was where I was getting one of the draws, I believe, and that was when we tested it. Me and Jeremy, as I was talking on my phone, it would stay at 1.2 or 0.12.
What's that? 0.12?
And we'd see it spike to 1 amp every so often, like every
about
3 minutes, 0.9, 0.8. Every like 3 minutes, it would do that for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, maybe. And then we'll go back to 0.12. So my assumption is that draw from it is coming from possibly the capacitor going through and just trying to cycle and run that motor in there. And that's fine. If it's every so often, that's not going to kill the battery.
You're right.
What was killing the battery was going through the car and going through the interior, because I was like, okay, figuring out where the drain was coming from. I started ripping out, looking at the forums. It was saying a lot of times it could be the shaker system, which is the subwoofer in the back of the car and the satellite navigation onto it. And the other big thing, the first thing I did after the fuses, was checking any electronic addings that I added to Liger. Mm-hmm. So she has a whole separate line in her that's made for additional power to anything I want to charge through when the ACC is on or running is on. That way when it's off, there's no constant power, not constant power from the battery drain, and it's fused at like a 5 or 10 amp. That unplugged showed nothing was powering it, so I'm like, okay, that is off. The one thing that system currently is powering is the heated seats that I added to Liger. Even though they are factory seats, I added heated seats inserts underneath the leathers, so they're still, like factory. They still have the factory covers and everything else, or not covers, but the leather from them. And the second thing it controls is on Liger, she's got a TR6060 transmission into her, and which is in the GT500s. The one special thing about those is it has a reverse solenoid lockout onto it, that if you're over 5 miles an hour, it'll keep it locked out. Right. Now, if you do a normal swap, that doesn't come out with it. It just normally, you try not to shove in reverse because it'll grind if you try doing it. Right. What I did was I added a small computer module to it to actually control that solenoid like it would if it was on a Shelby, because Liger isn't, she's a GT, didn't have the option on GT with that. So having the small module now says, hey, the car is above 5 miles an hour, pushing the solenoid, lock out, the driver does not have access to shove and reverse above that, and that helps you prevent from grinding gears, which is nice. So that all was unplugged. The second thing was going through in the very back. So Liger also has a factory ECU, or not, I have a factory radio head unit. And with that, I still want that Bluetooth connectivity onto it, talking to people who are listening to music. Big thing to me. We've already had the music episode talking about that.
Yep.
And so in order for that to go through while still using the factory head unit, I've got a small device in the back, and that goes through the satellite radio, because the satellite radio has 3 different channels, 1, 2, and 3 on the Mustang, including an aux input. So going through channel 1, now instead of having satellite radio go through it, it goes through the Bluetooth connector, which then powers the radio, which then goes through that. As well as, since it's through satellite, that's a data link cable. So now that is able to change the controls onto the radio. So the radio can actually have the buttons on that and actually be used as controls for the Bluetooth. So my skip forward and back will actually connect to my Bluetooth, and hitting pause and play out will connect to my Bluetooth. Whereas that used to be for just a CD player or changing it. And it still has the option.
We're getting super deep. Yeah. And the listener tuned out like 3 minutes ago, you going into this. So does that pertain to the power draw?
I removed all those to make sure that wasn't part of the power draw.
Yeah.
So after all that was removed, I closed the back trunk because that's where it's located. Still looking on the inside, trying to find out where the major draw was, and I found out there was a light in the trunk still on. That was the major draw. So when I was trying to diagnose a check engine light for Liger recently, and that's a whole different rabbit hole we can go into, I had removed part of the interior of the trunk from the car. And that was to try to find a specific wire for finding out for this other plug sensor thing I was going through. Keeping all the interior out of the car, because most of it's out right now, I just closed the trunk. Finding on the Mustang, when you remove the plastic interior molding from it, when you close the back trunk, there's a plunger that when it senses the trunk lid's closed, it completes the circuit and the light goes off.
Sure.
But by removing the plastic trim is just enough plastic where it actually shuts it off. So with that gone, it kept the light constantly on.
Yep.
So that was the main power draw, and removing from that ultimately was what was killing the battery. So simple, easy fix. That was replaced.
Yeah, after hours and hours and hours of tracing wires and measuring voltages and amperage.
And all he needed to do was go and cut a wire.
I ain't cut a wire.
I would have.
Put the plastic trim back
I just put the plastic trim back, and now it's
I
back
would have
fine.
left the trim out and just went,
you're lazy.
Yeah. A wiring job is going to either be 30 seconds or 40 hours. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
You know?
Electrical issues are like that for sure.
So that's been done to Liger. And the second big thing is we're like running down the race week. I'm like, you know what? Let's do some more upgrades, because why not? So
because you have all the time in the world,
all the time. So I decided to take off the differential and rebuild the limited slip in it, because why not, and throw in some clutches, because Liger's been one wheel peeling for
that was a necessary evil right there, though.
But yeah I cannot tell you how long I've had her one wheel peeling. I think it's honestly been like 12 years or 10 years. And
what else did you do?
Well, we'll see how good that works.
We'll see how good that works, And then the other thing is I decided I was going to take out the seat and reupholster the seat, because that's not that hard. That's not that long.
Oh, yeah. Just jump right on this.
Why not? We have 4 days remaining. We'll just reupholster the whole seat. And while I had it all the way stripped down, like, that's not too bad. We see it because my previous seat was really ripped and didn't have any of the bolstering into it, which gave me the brilliant idea. I've got it this far. I've never done this. Let's just add foam and hot glue and do some stuff, and we'll make it work and add bolstering to the car.
Sure.
You
got it apart. It's only 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So I call Rob at 10:30. I'm like, hey, Rob, I'm kind of in the need. I can't stop working, and I've already bolstered this thing.
Yep.
And
I told you to go home.
Yeah.
Did you get the cover back on?
No.
Kind of.
When are you doing that?
Kind of.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Not tonight.
No.
When are you actually doing that?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
I got the
bottom to it.
I got the bottom cover done. Actually, I feel bad. I didn't take your advice.
I know. You stayed.
The reason was because as we talked on the phone, I was like, I just need to put hog rings on one of them to make sure it's on, call it good. It's 10:30 night.
You did all of them, didn't you?
No. That was the thing is I started freaking out last night because I couldn't find my hog rings. I found my hog ring pliers. And for me, I was like, this is something that's not super easy to find. If I don't have these, I can't reupholster my seat. What am I going to do? So not only was I panicking throughout the shop, I did order some off Amazon, which hopefully they're here today. But Amazon's not always the most reliable on times.
Yeah.
And sometimes it could be a couple days. So scouring the shop, I did find them. I did install at least the lower hog rings, which didn't take long, like maybe 10 minutes to put them on. But that gave me a peace of mind. No, okay, they're here. This can be finished. Yeah. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So that was done to Liger. So, and right now the seat has been, new leathers are on her.
You did put them on.
Well, the bottom one is, but I have them at the shop ready.
Yeah.
Because with a Mustang, it's not like you're having to sew or do anything like that. When you buy a new leather cover,
it stretches over.
It stretches over the foam and replaces it and like OEM. And it is. I've got the same red on there now. The other big thing was taking apart last night. Another big issue I saw, which I knew if I didn't address would be an issue. Lumbar support has been gone on the seat for a while. And I always thought it was just, something burnt out. What I found last night was it was a wire that was actually cut right at the plug on the lumbar support in the seat.
Yeah. And
me being a genius, I'm like, I need to solve this now. So I went back to the wire harness that I had and tried to find plugins that were pin connectors that were similar to the plug-in one, because I had to unpin the one I had, unpin the other one, put them together, solder the wires, tried to make that work, and I did. And I'm still debating if that was a smart idea, because one of the wires I had melted a little bit on them. I did put a shrink wrap over that wire so it would protect it, and then shrink wrap another wrap over them. But I was like, if that's not done properly and now eventually shorts out, I was like, that could be a bad disaster. So that was done to the car. But the bolstering was nice. I got them down, so it's now the seat covers fit over them. I should say, the leathers should theoretically fit over them. And so it shouldn't add more than what it had factory, but it's going to give more strength on those areas where they were factory.
A little more support.
Which means it's going to hold you in the seat more. You could, on the bod, just sitting in it, you can feel it really hugging you better.
Yeah.
But that's also nice because it's not a full race seat. So I still have my, a good daily seat while also still holding you really into it.
Yeah, you went way deeper last night than I told you to go home. He's asking me for
He just
went
way deeper than the listener wanted him to go.
Yeah, probably. I was going to say, those listeners out there that have, a 2005 to 2007 Mustang, and they need some advice.
2005, 2009.
Grant
this is our guy.
Turned every nut and bolt and screw 100%. On that car.
Absolutely.
Even if it didn't need to be replaced, because I've done so much work, it's just I wanted to add stuff or just change things a little bit, or no, it works because that car I need to know inside and out what's for.
Well, you do.
So
hit us up.
Yeah.
Hit up Grant. Just Untitled Car Project at gmail.com.
I will say,
let us know.
There's actually one part on my Mustang I do not know what it does or what it's for. I know. And I think some people speculate what it is. It was under the it's on both sides, passenger and driver side. Underneath the top of the door, there's a small 2-inch by inch wide box that's looks like it's coiled wire, maybe, and it's covered in paper. The only thing I can think of, some people think it may be for sound deadening, some people might be for absorbing radios, but there's no wires to it. It just sits there underneath the plastic.
It's a listening device.
No, because it's hollow. You think it's a listening device?
The CIA
conspiracy theories.
But yeah, I have no idea what that's used for, and that's been
interesting.
One thing that's been oh wow, huh? Yeah,
that's it.
I got one more thing I have to say.
Oh my goodness!
You better make it fast.
Real fast. I'm just circling.
We already lost everybody.
I know, but let me circle way back.
You're losing me.
I wanted to talk about real fast. We were talking about gold finding at junkyards. Remember we were talking about that?
Yeah, I was here.
One thing I was saying that I never got to say was one of the gold things I found at the junkyard was the carbon fiber hood for Liger.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's true.
You found one at the junkyard?
I found one at the junkyard. They wanted, the front end was a little bit damaged, but wasn't too bad. They wanted $350 is what I haggled them down to for a $1,500 hood. And what I did for the cost to get it down was our community college, Rock Creek Community College, actually has an auto body shop, and you can bring it there for any projects for students to work on at times. So I had a student work on the school approved, and they worked on the carbon fiber hood to not only fix the front end, which was mainly just a little bit of scratches and stuff, not too bad because it was all there, but also to paint match it to Liger. And the only cost I had was $50 worth of paint I had to pay
for
to
the
them.
Materials.
For the materials.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that guy.
That's a good find.
Yeah, I talked to him and he's like, "You're the guy who's been making me sand this thing for the last 3 months."
Yeah.
He's like, "This is my final."
Good.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that's
You're welcome.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a fun episode, guys.
All right.
It was very good. Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming in. Thanks again to Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
You can reach out to us at untitledcarproject@gmail.com. Also at our Instagram, Untitled Car Project, and
our Twitter X at Untitled Car Pro.
That's right. That's right. So love to hear from you guys. Let us know what your projects are. Reach out. We'll get you on the show, and we'll try not to ramble on as much. Or we will.
Yeah, we will.
Well,
we will.
100% we will.
100% we will.
All right. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks for listening.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.